And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on in. My name is Fraser. I am the community specialist working on Hearts of Iron 4. Today I'm joined by the stalwart community manager himself, Per. How you doing?
Doing alright. Not too bad
Nice.
for Friday.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm looking forward to this. I always enjoy being able to sit down and play one of my favourite video games. Doubly so when I get to do it for work. So, Per, I have a little bit more experience playing this game than I think you do. We've had a couple of games here and there, and I think one of the big things that we have noticed is just how difficult it can actually be to get into the game. Like the onboarding, there's a lot to get through, isn't there?
I mean, you could say it's easy to get into for the first 5 minutes, and then
Yep.
you're thinking, what is all this? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I know for myself, my very first game I ever played, Per, I'm pretty sure I've told you this. The first game I ever did, I ended up getting raided by Dankus. Whilst I was streaming. Yeah, I was raided by Dankus and another streamer, and I ended up having Twitch chat tell me how to play with like one-word answers like silent and workhorse. That was just being spammed in the chat. Now that's definitely one way that you can learn to play the game. Another way is obviously looking through, like YouTube tutorials, looking through guides. Per and I both had we think about it, and we're like, well, what if we are to maybe try something in the middle there, look at maybe doing like a little kind of beginner's live stream, and potentially there's things that maybe I know about or things that I do in my gameplay that might be helpful to some people in chat. So I do want to preface this by saying this is a bloody difficult game. There's a ton of ways to play, so just because it's what I do doesn't necessarily mean that it's meta, that it's perfect, or that you have to do it exactly.
It's also very fun. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that there's a myriad of ways to play the game. Just because I set up my production lines or I have like my early game set up the way that I do, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to as well. So Per, we were talking about this. We're going to play through as Germany. You do have a couple of different options for like which country you want to play to start off with. I know the tutorial is Italy. I personally recommend to people who are playing for the first time, I've usually recommended playing as Germany because it's the easiest way as possible. They start out with a pretty good professionalized military, decent production lines, and a pretty good way of gaining political power very quickly. So you don't start off with as many of the debuffs, especially when compared to some of the other European powers. So we're going to play as the German Reich. We are going to play on regular. Again, it's all kind of personal preference. I personally prefer to play on either regular or veteran. The main differences there just being if you're playing on civilian or recruit, which is covered by our cameras. If you're to play civilian or recruit, you gain a couple of buffs towards like your political power gain, supply consumption, yada yada yada. My recommendation, even if it's a little bit harder, start out with regular, because then that way it's only going to get easier, rather than learning the game at I guess with what they call training wheels. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
And then so I personally say I usually play in regular. We'll keep historical AI on. Realistically, the way that I play, it may not be historical for very long, but we're going to do our best. And then Iron Man, I'm turning that off just for the time being because knowing me, I might have to save scum. So, I probably should have muted that.
Assuming we have totally new people, do you want to tell them what safe scumming is, or is that going too basic?
I think it's 2026. I would like to think that people know what safe scumming is.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, come on, raise your hand if you've done it. I know it's dirty, but I imagine there's a lot of people in chat who have done it. So if you guys have any questions about what we're doing in the game, feel free to ask away, and Per will obviously be relaying them to us as we're playing. But just please keep in mind, this is predominantly a gameplay live stream. We're not going to be answering questions if it doesn't pertain to the kind of the here and now. Okay. So, research, first things I always do is industry, then engineering. So, basic machine tools and construction wants. The main reason I do that, you're always, my opinion, you're always going to have at least one or two of your research queues on kind of production, because that's kind of the lifeblood of your country, right? You know, you can't really fight a war if you don't have equipment, and when you're going through war, if you're in battle, you're going to be losing a lot of equipment. So I'm always just looking at ways that I can basically just increase my production efficiency cap, looking at how can I build more civs, more mills, so civilian factories, more military factories, and then also looking over towards things like increased research speed and radios, especially for the reinforced rate. So that would be what I would do. And then because we're playing as Germany, we're going to be going quite heavy for tanks. So personally, I really like welded armor. The main reason for that, it is a lot quicker to produce, or it can be a lot quicker to produce, and it's also got a decent amount of armor bonus. So I quite like welded armor over casted or riveted armor.
I see someone in chat saying they have never save scummed. Just curious what odds of that are.
You played XCOM, not Iron Man. See, XCOM, I feel like you're quite an older. Let me try and think how to word this. Here, you've played a lot of games over the years. I imagine you probably played the old-fashioned XCOMs, right?
I did play my first games in DOS, yes. I am that ancient.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely had the games when I was younger that I would save scum. So yeah, so I'm gonna go for armor, basic armor protection, and then when I'm choosing a Mayo, I'm basically looking at what am I gonna want to push as like my main industrial output. You know, am I gonna be looking at making mostly heavy tanks, mostly medium tanks? Personally, I like Daimler-Benz for standardized production. So I'm going to select that one for now, and we'll go into Mayos in a second. I just like to finish out all my research slots. So I've got two of these on industry. So that's the two main ones I can get right now. Normally, I'd put one onto electrical mechanical engineering for the research speed. It also unlocks radar if you're playing as a country that doesn't have it. So as an example, the UK starts out with radar, which is fantastic. But as we're playing Germany, we don't have that. I think I'll probably put this one onto the support equipment. Or sorry, not support equipment. Support weapons. So that way we can get the heavy weapons company and motorized heavy weapons companies. So those are the regimental support companies that were introduced with Thunder Hour Gates. So I think we'll do that. And I'm going to put that one onto Mauser. And personally, what I have started doing now, I actually set up my Mayos right at the start of the game. So that way I don't have to do it later down the line. So I'm just going to go into details. And then personally, I like to go for production efficiency because I like having more than having better. You know, it's kind of like that.
You're basing this on a lot of experience.
Yes.
So if someone's just coming in, what are they doing here?
Okay, so with your Mayos, essentially these are bonuses that you can put onto the companies that either develop the design or that produce it. So as an example, if I was to research, where's my research? If I was to research basic armor protection, you can see it's got that little icon there, the purple flask. That is for welded armor, and where is it? So that's for welded armor, and then the little green kind of ribbon on the corner that indicates that it gives breakthrough progress for land warfare. So for some of these, you would then also gain experience for your Mayos. So, as an example, because we're researching basic armor production, or basic armor protection, that's the funds that you basically, you unlock funds through research. So what you would be doing here, let's say if you have light tank, you can, let's say you get 1 point in this, you can then put it onto hot rolled armor, and that would then give for light tanks and medium tanks that you produce for the production line, production efficiency cap and production efficiency gain. So it's essentially ways that you can further optimize towards a certain playstyle. If you want to have really heavy breakthrough tanks, you can use the Mayos in addition to the equipment. Does that make sense?
I think that helps, yeah.
Okay. So, personally, if I was building tanks and I was wanting to put something into Daimler-Benz, which is a standardized production, you can see here that if I was to use Daimler-Benz as part of my production line, as the Mayo on my production line, my equipment, so the light tanks and medium tank equipment, is going to have slightly reduced armor defense stats, but it's going to cost less. So that might be a benefit that I would get for using Daimler-Benz. Whereas if I look at MAN, I would just gain 5% production output. So each Mayo will have different benefits. So depending on how you want to play, you might look at this and go, oh, well, I don't care about heavy tanks. I'm just going to go light tanks. I wouldn't bother putting things into Porsche, the heavy tank designer. I might only put it into infantry tanks or medium tanks. So, personally, I like going for quantity has a quality all of its own. So I'm going to go for Daimler-Benz. So we're going to select that. And then we are going to just hold left shift and then left click so we can start assigning these. And you can see they've got the wee number next to it. That means that it's going to automatically do this in a queue. So that way I'm not going to have to basically touch it again after I finish with this. So 1, 2, 3.
I seem to remember playing when you couldn't queue these yet, so this was really a blessing.
Yeah, it is really nice. In the past, I would tend to queue these mid-game, and I'd queue a couple of them at a time. A better habit that I've started forming is I just do it at the start of the game, so then I don't have to, like, especially if I'm the kind of person, I've got an actual notepad with how I play. Like, for example, when I play UK, I have an entire spreadsheet and a notepad with the fleet composition that I want to go for. So for me, I know exactly what I want to build. Some people might like to just, window shop a little bit. And I think that's perfectly fine. So we're going to go for that one, and that one, and that one.
Yeah, and I think you also touched on something I wanted to mention.
Yep.
I don't think if you're just starting out, you're going to be winning right away. You're not going to know what to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error.
Going to be playing more to take the occasional note and plan ahead. That's what I see a lot of, let's call them pros do. They played so many games on their next playthrough. They have their list of things because they know they're going to focus on tanks. They're going to focus on planes.
Yep.
They're going to ignore Navy like many people.
Yep. So I can give a fantastic example here. We are going to be doing another multiplayer game next week. And I had a number of messages from our beloved game director explaining to me in detail that if I do not provide him Stugs for his Finland that he's going to be playing as, he will be doing the Lapland War and declaring war against me. So
because you're playing...
Because I'll be playing as Germany, and if I don't support him as Finland, he's going to turn his back on me. So you do get a lot of people who, like to kind of plan out their games. You get other people who just kind of wing it, and I think both are perfectly valid. So I've turned you up a little bit. Can we maybe just get a check with that pair? Can you say something?
Check. All good.
Should be good. So yeah, what you can see right here, that is effectively all of the Mayos that I want to do, and in the order that I've chosen, it is primarily production first. So you get the first one is going to be production output plus 5%, then production efficiency cap, then one for plus 10% armor, because why not? I've done those two in order to then unlock production efficiency, yada yada yada. So again, it's a lot of trial and error, but that's the way I would personally choose to set this up. People might do a different order, but ultimately I think it comes down to the same thing. So with that one, and then if I just go down to Mauser, again another real quick one. This is the nice thing about Mayos is different manufacturers will have different setups or will have different benefits. So as an example for Mauser, because it's infantry equipment, it's primarily focused towards bonuses for infantry equipment. So you can see production efficiency cap and production output cost for infantry equipment. But then for some of these things, it might be more geared towards soft attack. As an example for this, you get the option between bolt action rifles, which would give minus 3% soft attack for plus 5% production efficiency, or increase soft attack and breakthrough for reduced production efficiency. So, depending if you want to go for, like, you know, quality versus quantity, you get different options there, which is quite nice.
And soft attack is?
Soft attack is damage dealt to units with no hardness. So if I was to go to here and have a look at my infantry division, see soft attack right here. It says how many attacks the unit can make versus enemies with low hardness. And interestingly enough, Eric, your predecessor, asked me that very question when he hired me for the job. When he was asking, so I'm surprised I still remember that. But basically, hardness, you increase hardness by using armor, so light, heavy, medium armor, and also not motorized, but I think mechanized. I personally don't play with mechanized. I don't know. I'm not really a mechanized kind of guy. I kind of prefer just keeping it like line infantry and just saying, why not? Whereas I know you tend to go with heavier, more complex divisions. I tend to just kind of bulk it. Again.
I like my medium type.
There we are. Mechanized tech will increase motorized hardness and give hardness itself. Thank you, Woofer. Interesting. And again, that's a really good example of there are so many things on this game. I've been playing it for years, and even then there are things that I'm gonna forget about. So yeah. Set up some civs. And by the way, if people have questions, feel free to ask and pair, and I will do our best to try and answer. I'm going to remove the medium airframes because we're not going to be using those. And the reason for that being is I'm going to try and focus on just having as few production lines as I can, so I can make as many of them as I can. So I'm going to mostly airframes. I'm going to have light for CAS and cap. So I'm only going to have cap, so combat air patrol. I'm going to have aircraft that are good for air supremacy, and then I'm going to have CAS for basically bombing the hell out of whoever I'm playing against. So we're going to have that. And
just gonna drop in. I noticed my username mentioning something and that they didn't understand the game and uninstalled. My username, is there something you would want to go into now since you're here? If you have any questions, just drop them in chat.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people get quite daunted by the fact each country has, or each major country tends to have their own unique focus trees. What I tend to find is, as you see on the left here, you tend to have it broken down into constituent parts. So you'll usually have a dedicated army tree, air force tree, navy tree, economic tree, or industry tree, and maybe a political tree. That political tree will tend to be democratic, fascist, non-aligned, and communist, or some kind of amalgam of that. So I think for Germany, what we're doing it because we are playing historical, we're going to kick things off by remilitarizing the Rhineland. As you can see there, you've got the completion time, how long it takes, any national prerequisites. Basically, that shows what do I need to have or what do I need to be in order to do this. So as an example, I need to be independent as Germany. I need to be fascist, which we are. We need to own Mosland, Rhineland, Baden, and it's also mutually exclusive with Rally de Wehrmacht. You can tell because it's got that little icon right there. And that's going to take 35 days. So we are...
Fraser, maybe we need a financial system in Hoi.
Can I introduce you to Victoria 3? It's a fantastic game with a massive trade system, and it's awesome, and it also happens to be one of our games, but ours is better, so consider that first.
Also, lose the clips in chat, please.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to do remilitarize Rhineland. One thing that Per does, and it honestly annoyed the hell out of me, every time I saw him playing the game, he would manually go in and click the buttons. One thing you can do, click enter. And I trust me, it will save so much time in the long term. Just hotkeys. So yeah, we'll do that. Remilitarize the Rhineland. And, yeah. So, do that. Grab all these guys. We're not doing a civil war, so I can just pop these guys right there, put them there. And put them under Rundstedt. Kick the game off. And I'm going to do F3, grab all of our aircraft, move them to Berlin, combine them all together. We are going to be focusing heavy on the Spanish Civil War. So we're just going to combine all of these guys. Some of them are not really necessary right now, so we can just move them. Move them. And the reason why we're disbanding them is because if we look at our logistics right now, we're currently running at a deficit. So any aircraft that we lose, especially in training or in combat, we're not going to backfill. So it's better to have some aircraft in your stockpile rather than just putting them all out all in one go. So we're going to do that. Put them there, and then if I look at these guys.
I'm just going to drop in again. So first of all, yeah, starting and focusing on Navy I don't think is the best way to start. Many people have doubts and haven't touched Navy.
So my opinion on this is you're not going to win a war by the Navy alone, because at some point you are going to have to invade somebody, you're going to have to land on the beaches and capitulate them. So the better way to learn, my opinion, would be Army first, then Air Force, then Navy. Because, as Germany, you can do a lot without the Kriegsmarine. And that hurts me to say because I really like boats and the Navy. The main thing that you need to, my opinion, you need to learn for air, how to manage your supplies, how to gain air supremacy. Am I allowed to swear? How to bomb the shit out of your enemies. And that's the beauty of CAS. What you're doing there is you're taking air supremacy with your fighters, and then you're using your CAS to knock out enemy divisions or enemy tanks, stuff like that. So what I would say is focus on those two. For us, all we're doing for air, we are focusing purely on fighters and close air support. That's it. So we're not going to be looking at naval bombers. We're not going to look at tactical strategic bombers because they are good. They're good to have, but by themselves, they're not really going to win the war. They're more of like a force multiplier.
And would you still recommend people watch Mordred's Navy Guide?
Yes, but I also don't know whether his was updated as with... I don't know how old that is. you can remember.
Yeah, I'll probably still get the basics though.
Yeah, I think the principles are the same. I think the main thing that changed was just the regions. Or regions and naval dominance. That's probably the bigger thing.
Naval invasions also, that's fairly recent, right?
Yeah, that a lot of that kind of was updated with No Compromise, No Surrender, so that would have been November. So probably one thing I would recommend would be checking out both our YouTube, so the official Hearts of Iron YouTube, because generally we put out content creator-led guides. That tends to be quite up to date, I would say. Secondly, would also be just having a look at some of the more prevalent content creators that we tend to have. Again, no real preference here, but just as an example, you're looking at kind of like Machiavellian, Hatless Spider.
Atlas mentioned.
Atlas mentioned.
Music just a little bit.
Yep,
just
music. Yeah. There we are.
And apparently Mortgage is several years old now, but still useful. So, okay, there you go.
I think a lot of it is like the core concept remains the same. It might just be the implementation of it might be slightly dated. So yeah, all I'm doing right now, I'm basically just waiting for the Spanish Civil War to kick off. You see a number of reasons why people get involved in the Spanish Civil War. Broadly, I would say it comes down to it's a really good way of training your divisions and getting army XP, air XP, that kind of thing. Also, secondly, as the German Reich, the last thing I want to see is a communist Spain. And vice versa, if I'm playing as the Soviet Union or the communists, the last thing I want to see is a fascist Spain. So we're going to be looking at this as how can we win the Spanish Civil War? Simple answer for that is we're going to have two of our tanks, one of our infantry going over there. But that'll be in a second. So we've done remilitarized Rhineland. And I'm going to be entirely honest with you, Per. I have been playing this... Yeah, I try to be. I've been playing this game for years. I still don't have a clue how to manage autarky. It is. I am terrible at it. I fully admit that. There are two things I can't do in this game: naval invasions and autarky. So, personally, I go for prioritize economic growth. Again, the beauty of this, and this sounds cringy, it's kind of like what you would say when you're at like a school sports day. It's not about the winning, but the taking part that matters. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun, and we're just gonna do prioritize economic growth. I'm really hoping Jonathan isn't in chat because he'd be so disappointed in me.
Maybe that can educate you on autarky.
Yeah. So as Germany, you start out, you gain quite a lot of political power. That's one of the other big strengths of the German Reich, especially early on. You tend to get quite a lot of political power. Compare that or contrast that with France, and you get like 0.4 half the time because your country's blown up in political turmoil. So Germany is in a much stronger position in terms of that. So we're going to wait. We're going to pick up... how do I pronounce that name?
Where?
Brauchitsch?
Brauchitsch.
Brauchitsch.
Brauchitsch. But it's, I don't know, I've spoken enough German, I haven't seen that name specifically.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're going to grab that, put these guys here, put them there, and they're over their cap. It doesn't matter because we're not at war, so I don't need to worry about the debuffs for that. I'm going to put them under Manstein. And Manstein has Fortress Buster or Scavenger. I quite like Scavenger. We can get that when we have enough command power. Scavenger's quite nice. You get a lot of equipment from that. The
Fraser,
Navy...
saved you.
Say again?
If you can quickly finish the allies, go for it. Otherwise, go with the growth. There you go. Problem solved.
Yes. One of the main things about autarky is essentially what you're doing is you're effectively putting off your where is it? Yeah, you're effectively putting off your paying back of MIFO bills until after the war. I believe. Citation needed for that. Whereas for prioritized economic growth, it starts off a lot slower. Basically, I would kind of word it like prioritized economic growth really hurts early on, and it takes a longer period to get back. Whereas if you go down 4-year plan and you don't manage to finish it, you're you're in a rough spot. So there's a question there, which is, why can't we queue agency upgrades like Miles? I would say that's a fantastic bit of feedback, and I'd recommend that you consider putting that onto either the forum, Paradox forum, or on Reddit, because that's usually where we get a lot of our feedback from. But yeah, that's a good question.
And our forum thread with all our resources was mentioned, so I'll just stick that in the chats.
Yeah. So I don't need to worry about that. It's for the Navy headquarters. I do quite like the Navy. Germany starts out with actually a decent-ish starting Navy. Again, it just comes down to size, because they only have 40 ships. The UK starts out with, I think it was 267. You don't have a notepad, actually, that'll tell me. Yeah. So, this is a great example of how I would personally... Hang on. Pause that for a second. Per, you're not quite at this stage yet, but maybe one day you will be. I have this spreadsheet. Not spreadsheet, this notepad that tells me...
I was going to say, you know I wouldn't be using Notepad. You know what I'd be using.
Oh, yeah. So this is... Let's say, for example, if I was playing a game, I might have this laid out already, because I have a rough idea of what I want to do and how I want to do it. So, you will...
I don't remember you sharing this last time we did multiplayer.
No, the main reason I didn't share it is because I didn't want to give up all my secrets.
Clearly.
So yeah, we've done prioritized economic growth. Let's go over to develop maneuver warfare, and then we're going to go down adopt new Panzer doctrine. That'd be quite good. So we're in March. Spanish Civil War, June, July, I believe. I can't quite remember the dates. You know what is actually quite interesting, though? The fact of... I remember playing this game, right, where you had to figure your way out from one side of a map to the other. So you had to list, like, the countries in between each other. So, like, you know, going from Spain to Turkey. It turns out a number of the countries... Because obviously I played a lot of this game. I base a lot of my knowledge on the 1936 map. Turns out some of these countries no longer exist.
That's true. That's not the only thing that's...
Yeah. So, alright, keep your secrets, Gandalf. I don't think I'm Gandalf.
No comment.
Alright. But yeah, we're basically just kind of waiting for now. I could do a special project, in which case I'm probably going to do military engineering, because I quite like that. So pop that on. Decisions available. We don't actually have any decisions we want to touch. And we will leave it there. Oh, there is a Gandalf! Look at that. Not you, Per. Don't worry. There's someone in chat.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah.
Okay, you win.
So, we'll grab these two. And I want to say I can send over, I think it was 2 air wings off the top of my head, but I can't quite remember. So we're just going to move them.
The Civil War?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on when it pops and how many units you have, right? How many divisions you have?
Yes. So, at the start of the game, Germany can send 3 divisions. That can then increase, A, with the amount of territory that the country that you were sending volunteers to, basically how big it is, the more states it has, the more it can. Secondly, the size of your own army. And then thirdly, through send volunteer limit increases through focuses or buffs. Okay,
and
so
do you get notified when that number increases?
No.
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic thing for us to potentially bring up, actually, at some point, Pear. But
yeah, but then that becomes one of those discussions. Oh, we need more notifications. Oh, now we have too many notifications.
Who doesn't like notifications?
Which notifications do you want? Oh, but they want other notifications. Maybe
do you wish to know more? So yeah, we're doing that. That'll unlock heavy weapons companies. I quite like the heavy weapons companies, actually, because I'm using my favorite word now, abstractions. It doesn't cost an additional production line to make it because it all counts under heavy weapons, counts under infantry equipment, infantry guns counts under artillery. So it's like a nice way of kind of adding force strength to your divisions without as much of an economic impact as the straight support companies do. So yeah, we'll do that, and then I think we're gonna do that. Do this. So maintenance company. One reason I quite enjoy is the equipment capture ratio, and also it can be quite nice for tanks. You see a lot of people putting them in. What is your favorite support company? This is both for you, Pear, and also for chat, I wonder.
I think I'll let chat answer that if they have any opinions.
Yeah, because I have a new one, which I discovered relatively recently, because again, I tend to play the same time every time I play. I really like the armored engineer companies. This one is really nice. So you get additional breakthrough for plus 5% for tanks and armor variants. But I also really liked it for the entrenchment. Because one of the last games I played was Finland. And I was playing like really heavy defensive Finland. And armored engineer companies were actually really fun. So I quite like that.
Okay, we have one other opinion, is helicopters.
Helicopters are really fun, especially for Medivac. I think you tend to see a lot of people kind of being back and forth on that. And a lot of that tends to be obviously just like the how long it costs or how long it takes to research, to make special projects. But they can be quite powerful and quite fun. Some of them have some really interesting models.
And then there's the opinion that only beginners and mid players use support. So, there's that.
Well, I happily say that I am very much a mid player. I fully accept what I am. So yeah, national focus. We're going to adopt new Panzer Doctrine and Mayos, because I didn't really touch those earlier on. I'll leave that for now. So Germany starts off with mobile warfare, which is quite nice. The big thing we want to get out of Spain, other than a free and non-democratic Spain, is going to be the army experience. So again, I was just going to click through this because I know what I want. This one, we're going to do... they will not lose us that easily, which gives Austria an event. Basically... The total army fighting strength required for Anschluss will be lower. Let me move this out of the way so you can see this. This is why it's really good to read the tooltips. Usually, if there's something important or contextual, it will be in yellow. So, as an example, banned DNSAP, DNSAP. I don't know I don't know how to say that. But basically, Austria gains that modifier, malus. They gain that event, and in return they do this. So for us, that bottom line there is really important for us. If we were to do how rude, as a British approach, how rude, it doesn't affect the total army fighting strength. And the total army fighting strength required for Angelus basically means how many lads do you need to knock down the door. So we're going to do... They'll not lose us that easily. We'll ignore that and leave it for now.
Minus 50 PP, though. That hurts.
But, again, on the bright side, and you know, you start out with a fair amount of political power, and you can also increase it as well, relatively quickly. So, we can grab some of these guys later. You have about 1,000 hours in the game, so you finish the tutorial. That's honestly how it feels sometimes.
Yeah, it's just about right.
Yeah.
900,000 hours. Yeah.
But just think that at the very least, even if you stop... Oh, sorry, go
on. Which goes, Italy, Ethiopia. And I think perhaps what I found actually helped me was reverting to an older version of the game where it was more on par with what the tutorial's trying to do.
Yeah.
Less of the mechanics. So that's something to try.
Yeah, because I think that was... The tutorial was predominantly by Blood Alone. Which had a number of changes, obviously, for Italy and Ethiopia. I mean, the way I would look at that is, if you have 1,000 hours on the game before you feel like you finish your tutorial, I can do English, don't worry. Hey, on the bright side, it means you're clearly enjoying the game, even if you're not quite understanding what's going on. Which I think is could be a good sign.
Just curious.
Say again?
I'm curious how many of the 1,000 hours are with mods. Like,
so I can actually answer. I initially started playing this game as a result of a small little known content creator known as Tommy K. So a lot of my initial gameplay was initially vanilla only. Then I started getting into like Old War Blues and a couple other mods. So it's I started out very heavy with mods, and then probably over the last 2 years I've kind of dropped back down to using mostly vanilla. Which it's been fun for me. So for Germany, this is all army. This is all the Heer. You've got the Luftwaffe, and then you've got the Kriegsmarine. I actually discovered something really, really fun a couple of weeks ago, which I never noticed. It came out 2 years ago with Goethe Dammering. But if you were to do, if you were to basically oppose Hitler, and you then go down, like let's say Kaiser and Victoria, this line, strengthen the Kriegsmarine, changes to strengthen the Kaiserliche Marine, which, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically Kaiserliche Marine, the Kaiser's fleet. So from the First World War, you had the Kaiserliche Marine and the German High Seas Fleet. So I thought that was quite an interesting little thing, that the name changes on the actual focus. I don't know, I love that detail. So yeah, we're doing that. We'll do... Can you please pronounce this one for me? Instill Auftragsstatik?
Auftragstaktik.
Auftrag...
You have to round it out. Auftrag.
Auftragstaktik?
Auftragstaktik. It was
Okay.
a valiant. You
I'm gonna stick to the English.
know. It's still better than my Scottish.
Don't know what you're on about. So yeah, 45, can't really get anything. But if you hover over it, it'll tell you what you can get, which is infantry, and that should be the defensive... yeah, so it'll be the Great War or Irregulars. I'm not going to use any of them. But Great War Infantry, I actually do like that from time to time. If you're going like heavy turtle with like land forts, that's actually not the end of the world. Yeah. So. You do like that bit of flavour in Paradox games, like provinces changing. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few instances of that. which is quite interesting. It's a nice little bit of kind of flavor world building, I would say. Gonna go for electronic mechanical engineering. Reason for that, you get the research speed, but also it then unlocks radio, which is really, really, really important for both tanks and also aircraft. So the main thing that you get with basic radio, plus 20% defense and plus 15% breakthrough for 0.5 production cost, which is crazy. So, have you ever heard the anecdote about during the fall of France that the Germans, one of the big technologies that they had begun utilizing over the last 10 years was radio, the use of radio, whereas the French and the British at the time were still predominantly using in their small unit tactics flags, little signal flags, which I thought was kind of a funny anecdote. Again, it doesn't tell the entire story, but it just goes to show how, especially in warfare, you tend to see one side will tend to still be fighting wars using equipment from the last one, which I always think is quite interesting. So we've got concentrated industry and dispersed industry. Which one do you prefer to go for, Pair? And I'll open that up for chat as well.
A long time ago, unless it's a larger country like US, I will go wide, but anything else I tend to go concentrated. I also like more green numbers in my tooltips because I don't want to spend that much time on it.
Okay, so I'll quickly run through these right now because this is a controversial question. I actually asked this when I was in the office, and I'm pretty sure I had someone throw a piece of paper at me when I asked them. So concentrated industry, you gain 20% max factories in a state, 15% factory output, and 10% dockyard output. Dispersed gives max factories in a state 20%, production efficiency retention plus 10%, production efficiency base plus 5%, factory output 10%, dockyard output 10%, and factory bomb vulnerability minus 15%. Long story short, dispersed industry is a little bit better if you like to change things on your production lines. In theory, that was, I think, originally the point was you would have your concentrated industry, they would stay in the same things over and over and over and over again, and you wouldn't really change them. Whereas dispersed industry, it had two major benefits. One would be as if you're planning on changing things quite a lot, or secondly, as Woofer is saying, if you're expecting strat bombing. Because not only is it the factory bomb vulnerability, so i.e. your sieves and mills getting bombed to hell, it's also the fact that you would retain your production efficiency even if you lose factories. Now, I personally tend to go for concentrated. Main reason for that being it's mostly just down to the output. Although, honestly, I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking to myself, actually, hang on. I think that's like a historic thing of like, I've always gone for concentrated. Because it's just the thing that you do. So what I'm thinking of doing, I'm going to do a poll. We're going to do a poll. Do you know how to do the polls, Pear? Or would you like me to do it?
No, please do. I don't have a clue.
Okay. Wait.
I'm just here to eat and look pretty.
You're doing both really well. Concentrated, dispersed, and we'll do one on both. So if you guys want to vote in this, we'll give it a minute. And then I'm going to go with whatever chat prefers.
If we're waiting for the polls, do you want to click that supplies icon? I know it pops up all the time. That red glow is driving me nuts.
Which one? This one?
Oh, all the way on the right. Your trade, what is it? Next to your research.
Oh, that one. Yes, so that's going to be the rubber. So, I'm going to...
Oh, is that the planes?
No, it'll be the planes and the trucks.
Oh, the trucks, yeah.
So, we're just going to trade a Siam. One tip that you generally get, if you trade with your enemy, your friends will be really pissed. So, don't trade with the people you're fighting against, or you're going to fight against. So, as an example, I don't want to trade with British Malaya, the UK, the Dutch East Indies, British Raj, because effectively I'm giving them an additional thingamajiggy. One thing you can do is...
didn't know that. What does that do?
See him? So when you trade... So when I'm... where am I looking for? When I trade, right? I am gaining 8 rubber for 1 factory. So I give them a civilian factory.
Yeah. Oh.
So I don't want to give... I don't want to give a country that I'm going to be going to war with later, or is going to be affiliated. I don't want to give them a factory that they can use to build more stuff. You would trade it with, first, any puppets that you have, because let's say if I accidentally fell over the border of the Netherlands and occupied them and the Dutch East Indies, I can then gain 80 rubber for 1 factory.
I never realized the connection, or that there was one. You know, games being what they are. I thought it was basically just flat punishment taking away one of my factories.
No, so they gain it. So that's why that's a big reason why, especially when you're in multiplayer games, you would trade with your you would trade with like your ally first. How negative should you go on a resource before you trade a factory for it? That's a really good question, and what I would highlight would be, you see here, so this is yellow, and it shows that my production efficiency currently has minus 7%, 7.5% as a result of lack of resources. So, really, I'm only losing 7%. It's not the end of the world.
But there's also other factors, like, do I really need those factories right now? Am I repairing a lot? Do I need the civs so I can get to the mills?
Yeah, I would look at it from the case of, usually if I'm at a deficit, I'll trade for it. But at the same time, you know, I would personally say, and as unhelpful as this is, you cannot wing it. You know, right now I'm not at war and I'm not desperate for this equipment, so therefore I don't really care that much about the deficit. So I'm going to unpause. Did we get an answer on the thingamajiggy? We've got 61% on dispersed. 63. So we'll land that.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
are we getting trolled, or is that really people's preference? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Again, this is what I would say is the beauty of this game. You could make a solid argument for both. Also, sorry, I keep losing your camera whenever I tab out. There we are. What do the people in the office say? Well, that's a very good question. I'll ask my cat. Athena? I didn't get an answer.
To me, they say, shut up, go back to posting on Twitter, but, you know, that's just me.
Yeah. Oh, we got Mordred saying concentrated. Okay, so that means we stick on dispersed. Got it, thank you. But yeah, I've always gone for concentrated.
Yeah.
Personally. But, again, it's one of those, if that's what people vote for, we will go for it. So yeah, we're going to go on to currency reforms, doctrines, Grand Doctrine. We can do expanded special forces, but I want to try and keep our army experience for the time being. So we're not going to do anything just yet. Got our military engineering vehicles still being made. I'm going to put this onto 4 speed. We should get German Civil War Spanish Civil War soon. And then when we get that, we can start looking at what we want to do. So normally I like to go for Rundstedt, Fritsch, and who else was it? Was it Adaptive Engineer if I get salvage captured material or salvage captured equipment, because that's quite nice again for the equipment capture ratio. I personally don't really convert equipment. I know a lot of people that do. I could never really kind of wrap my head around it. So I tend to stick away from that.
I've never done that. When would you do that?
If you have a surplus of, let's say you have a ton of really old equipment, you can then convert it over to like a newer model or like a newer version of it. I personally don't do it that much.
Is that be enough to actually put a whole advisor slot for that?
Yes. Or not necessarily an advisor slot for it, but the equivalent would be you could go for a couple hundreds. Let's say if I was upgrading or updating an old like light tank, you could get through a couple of light tanks per day. So it can be, but it's not something you would do long term. Yeah, you could convert a huge supply of light tanks into, say, light SPAA. Yeah, so you generally use whatever you have in like the backfill. It's not like I'm gonna start doing it from the outset. It's what you'll do later. Because by the time, let's say 1943, you're probably gonna have a ton of light tanks in your supply that you're not using anymore because all your divisions are using better stuff. But be that medium tanks, heavy tanks, or no tanks. Maybe just ran out of people. So yeah. Have a drink of my iron brew. Alright. Currency reforms with the lower taxes. And effectively what I'm trying to do is try and deal with my recovering economy. Because you can see there, consumer goods factories factor 55%. That means I go to construction. Whereabouts is it? You can see that 31 of my civilian factories are currently being used by consumer goods. So I have the factories, I can't access them, and as a result, I'm limited by the amount of civilian factories I can use for building. So consumer goods, you want to try and reduce that as and when you can.
Did you already say why?
Why what?
Like,
why you reduce?
Why consumer goods? What are they? What's that thing?
So consumer goods are an abstract concept of essentially how much of your civilian factories, how much of your civilian output, or how much of your overall like production output is spent on civilian requirements, civilian needs, right? So the idea being is that the difference between a wartime and a civilian economy is that during a wartime economy, you can put a lot more production lines, a lot more factories on military stuff, military equipment, yada yada yada. Civilian economy, the civilian stuff comes first. So the idea is your consumer goods, you have higher civilian goods if you're on a civilian economy, and if you are, you're not prepared to go to a war, versus if you're on a wartime footing, does that make sense?
And short answer, everyone gets a toaster.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good way of wording it. Civilian economy, they're building toasters. Wartime economy, they're building tanks. Yeah. Any tips on how to judge when to switch from building up more civs to flicking over to mills? I do it at the start of 38. Again, I would say just because I do it like that.
Not specific to Germany.
No, actually, it's not. I would do it for any country. But that's, again, that's a me thing, because I tend to look at it that 9 times out of 10, in my games, the major war, yeah, 38 is a good rule. It's most of the time the major wars tend to kick off around 39, 40. So you've got at least one full year, if you're lucky, before a major war kicks off and, you know, you're really going into your stockpile. If I was going into a civil war, I wouldn't really worry as much about my production line or my supply because the fuckers I'm fighting against are going to take half of it. You know? So 38 tends to be a good benchmark, but again, it always comes down to everyone will have a different preference. And it's about finding the way that you want to play.
And I guess North America can take a bit more time.
Yeah. So, Germany, I would normally say I would go for about, you know... I would start swapping over from building civs or dockyards, because remember, naval strategy is built strategy. It's this whole idea of you're not going, you know, a lot of the big ships, they have a long lead time, which actually, did you know, Per, naval fact for you, the main long lead item for battleships would actually be the guns, the barrels. Because historically it was really difficult making really big battleship barrels. So they would tend to stockpile dozens of gun barrels for each ship. It's that way, come wartime, it's probably going to take you like 2 or 3 years to make a single, let's say, 15-inch gun barrel. So countries tended to stockpile them for each individual ship.
Because I never thought about it, but I guess you have to cast them, right? It's not like you can make a metal plate and bend it.
No. They had varying techniques for doing it, but just broadly it would take about 1.5 to 2 years per barrel.
And then I guess that also depends on what ship it's for.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're going to the Royal Navy, I mean, we had tons of them. I mean, we had 11-inch, 12-inch, 13.5-inch, 14, 15-inch, and 16-inch. We did actually also. Did you know we also tested 18 and 18.1-inch, and we also conceptualized 20-inch. We never actually did the 20-inch; it was just a drawing. The Americans also tested an 18.1-inch, I believe, at Aberdeen Testing Grounds, which is not in Aberdeen, that's actually in America.
Okay, anyway. Why 18.1? Does that work out to some weird math somewhere?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I want to say it was Mordred, you're a nerd. Can you find out for us? The American 18.1-inch gun barrel. Why was it 18.1? Because I believe as well that's actually the thing the Yamato also used 18.1, not 18-inch.
Okay.
I don't know why. My knowledge does not extend that far.
It's going to be some weird fact that there was some other object it was based on, and it was a different measurement, and that came exactly.
I think it came more down to. I really want to Google now. Like, that's the worst, but I can't because I'm playing this.
Okay, I think Gandalf has a point. It's because the inventor really.
It's millimeters. Thank you. Yeah, it's 460 millimeters, which is 18.1. Thank you. Yeah. I knew there was a reason. Yeah.
There's a hot take.
Get you poll going. Oh, bollocks. I was so busy thinking about boats, I forgot about the war.
Now there's a war quote for you.
Alright, so yeah, I can send 2 divisions at the minute, so we're just going to take the one guy. Yeah, we'll take the infantry out, send the 2 tanks. Normally you want to send tank and infantry, because the main issue with the tank is you don't want to be using it to hold the space. And then we can send 2 air wings. So, deploy them. They will take, I think it's usually about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So that's 1st of October. I don't think it's distance. I don't think it's based on distance.
No, I'm pretty sure that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Also, interesting, or I think interesting fact is, obviously I played Hoi a longer time ago, and if you forget that checkbox for send air volunteers, you have to wait time and remember to send them again. But now you can do it instantly. that got fixed with the recent DLC or patch.
No. It's insane that the shell was almost half a meter wide. Yeah, so it's crazy. So broadly, when I'm playing as Germany, or if I'm supporting the Spanish Civil War, the main thing I look to do is essentially breaking through any front lines, and then secondly, looking specifically for any naval bases, any ports, supply hubs, that kind of thing. Okay, we got our lads. So we're going to send them down there. Going to go off on a trip to Malaga. What's the European equivalent of spring break?
No, it's not Easter.
Yeah.
When is spring break? It's late March.
When is spring break, Per? I think it's spring. I think it's during the break in spring.
Sure, yeah. Spring is only 1 week, right?
Easter holiday. Okay, Easter holiday. So we're going to do Panzer Troops School. That's quite good, because then you get Deutsches Heer. Gets the Malus. What's the opposite of a Malus?
Bonus?
Yeah, bonus. Org loss when moving, minus 10%, which is quite nice. Especially when you are kind of relocating across the country. So that's on. Those two are both on hills. That's on a mountain, so we want to attack through the hills. I also don't want my tanks getting bogged down there. You know what, actually? So, we're currently being attacked by these guys. We need to wait for that to finish.
So, are you saying you don't want to send your tanks into the mountains?
Yeah, no. So... yeah, no. So basically, tank without planning prep. I know. So basically, you can see there on the tooltip, if they are to attack into hills, minus 25%. If they attack onto... if they attack onto plains, they don't have any negative. So you can see here, if you look on the adjusters, see forest, movement 33.4%, 16% for tank through forest. Hills, they might have slightly more or slightly less. So, we are now basically waiting for them to...
attacking without planning prep, Yep.
So essentially, we need to wait, and also, this is something I was telling you about, the beauty of Spain is this little tooltip right down here at the bottom, which is unplanned defensive, division speed minus 75%, division organization regain minus 50%, ground support minus 75%, division attack minus 90%.
Yeah.
So it is nasty. All we're doing. Straight along there. On you go, boys.
But then I also think a lot of people they just join here to get the XP, right? They don't want in the war, because you win the war too fast. You're not getting your free XP anymore. True,
but you also look at it from the perspective of you don't want the Soviets to win.
Sure, there's
Or if you're the Soviets, you don't want the Germans, the Italians, the Japanese to win.
Sure. But especially if you're playing Germany and you're somewhat good at putting divisions together, you can win this war way fast. And
I would look at it from the perspective of I, as Germany, want Spain to be fascist, but I also don't want to spend the next 3 years fighting their war. I want to be doing other things. Because remember, whilst you're in a civil war, you cannot be in an external war.
Are you saying you've played Germany and spent 3 years in the Spanish Civil War? Or even a year and a half? That's a lot of time.
No, but I'm saying like there are people that do. Because if they want to grind it, yeah, theoretically you can, but you also don't necessarily want that, because here's something we've actually been speaking about. You know, because I know it gets brought up quite a lot. You cannot recall volunteers, which means these guys are here for the long haul. The only way I can recover these my guys would be as if I start an external war. You cannot recall volunteers. Yeah.
You can't even just manually send them to a port and send them back to your... Oh, that's interesting.
Nope. They cannot leave the country.
I think I've seen that request before.
They have, but it's a difficult one from what I'm aware, because it's not just about would it be good or not, it's also would that pose an issue with people exploiting it.
Yeah, I understand.
But I'm not a developer. I don't know.
But then what if you made it a pure single-player thing? They want to exploit that. It's not as bad as running an MP.
Yeah, I think that the beauty of our dev corners and our dev diaries is that, you know, there are hopefully areas that people can bring up their thoughts and opinions on these kinds of things. And hopefully if it was something that people are interested in, it would potentially be something that could be explored by developers.
Yep.
But again, it's a great example of, from our perspective, it might not necessarily be something that we have thought about. It may be, it might not have been. But if it's something that's then brought up by community users as, hey, this is something that we're considering in the game, that opens up the door for conversation. You know?
Yeah, I think it's getting more and more rare that a suggestion is made that hasn't come up at some point.
Yeah.
It is nice to get suggestions, though. And it helps, you know, people posting on forums, on Reddit, just to get that overview of this is getting a lot of votes, this is getting down votes.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to highlight this one a second, because this is something that's quite interesting. With No Compromise, No Surrender, some of the changes that were made was towards, obviously, doctrines, grand doctrines, sub-doctrines. Desperate Defense was one of those that was changed initially with No Compromise, No Surrender. It was locked behind the in a defensive war requirement or prerequisite. With the open beta that we have ongoing right now, one of the changes that was made in 1.19.2 in the open beta was one of the following must be true, either in a defensive war, or all of the following must be true, more than 10% surrender progress, more than 50% war support. So there's now a second way that you can unlock Desperate Defense. I know a lot of people had highlighted their dissatisfaction with that in the past, that you had to have been in a defensive war, which would technically mean Germany in an offensive war 5 years down the line couldn't access it. Now they can. So that's a great example of something that was adjusted following player feedback.
And that's in the open beta. Was that added in the last open beta update we just did today, or was that?
It's been a while, so it's been about a month.
Okay, and so that was already patched in, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, it's open beta only, I believe.
Right.
So, yeah. I know it's definitely not in the live build, and I know that because I was talking to someone in Discord about it. In the Hearts of Iron official Discord. Which you should check out.
It's really easy. Try the open beta. There's a forum post for it.
So I think for this, I'm going to go for... So that's another example there of Expeditionary Warfare grants send volunteers tension limit, max volunteer force divisions plus 25%, so basically how many more divisions you can send, and also divisions required for sending volunteer force minus 50%. So if I wanted to do more volunteers, I could go for that. In this case, I don't really care about that. I think we're going to do assault infantry, or I might do large unit tactics actually, just for the supply use. What about let's do mobile infantry. Do that. Nope.
First, I'm going to take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, go for it.
Otherwise, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, gonna give these guys a second. I'm aware that Pear just said something. I wasn't quite paying attention. Cat, did anyone remember what he just...
5-minute break. If you want to take a break, take a 5-minute break.
Nah, I'm good. I'm chilling. Thank you.
Alright.
Oh, boy. Alright. Let's do KDF Wagon Factory so we get the additional civs. Again, we're attacking into planes, which is good. But we are defending right now. This is the core issue you tend to run into, is just lack of supply. But the big thing we want to try and do is push through, grab Madrid, and then push south. How you doing, C-Mops? Being in defensive war isn't happening too often as a player. Yeah. So it's a good example of where, you know, it does help receiving feedback from players whenever we do changes like this, because it might not always be you know, it might not always be the finished product or the final product. So we're gonna leave them. They're gonna get knocked out. Let's take our guys down to Malaga. And we want to try and take Malaga because we can see down here in the bottom left, it's a naval base, so they're going to be getting supply from that. And then from there, across. You've got a question. So you played Hoi 4 a long time ago and I wish to play a game, so much has changed. Do you know a good guide that you can follow or watch? Ooh, I would recommend on our forum, we have a player resources guide, or player resources section. I will link it for you now. This tends to have some relatively updated guides on there, tutorials on there. I'd recommend have a look on there. If there's anything else that you're maybe missing, potentially check out our Discord, ask on there, or as you're doing here, ask other people in the community. Because I think everyone learns a little bit differently. So there might be other ways that you could maybe, you know, other guides that you might benefit from. So I think we're going to do... I think we'll do reorganize the Wehrmacht. Also, what you want to learn is another question. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, the biggest thing I would highlight is just there's so many different ways to play Hearts of Iron. So it really comes down to like what you want to do. I try my hardest. Despite my job, just to be a specialist, I try my best not to fall into the rabbit hole of meta, of trying to find the best way to play, and I focus more on, well, what's kind of fun for me. So I try not to focus too much on guides that focus on meta, if I can help it. So one other thing I'd highlight, this is more of a meta thing, i.e. more of an out-of-world thing that I just know about because I've played this game a lot. Usually I would focus, if I'm playing as Germany, I would focus down in the south in Madrid, rather than focusing up in the east, northeast, because I know that the I know that the anarchists always pop up there. So if I had my division up there, I'd either A, lose them, or B, they would go off somewhere. So I personally like to focus down south first. That's just a personal preference. You don't have to. So we've got quite a lot of political power. So we're going to get this guy for the maneuver, which is quite good for division speed. And also secondly, I think we'll probably grab a logistics guy. You do the same thing in most games. You like to roleplay as your faction/nation. It's fair. Yeah, I tend to stick with playing... I like the more defensive focus. Unless I'm playing as Iceland. And then I go very aggressive. Honey Badger style Navy. No. I remember one time we did, for the 10-year anniversary, we did a multiplayer game. And I played as Iceland, and my highlight for that was convoy raiding the hell out of Japan from Vladivostok. I was very proud of that. I was convoy raiding the... Where's Japan? There we are. I was convoy raiding like all the way down here, all the way from actually it wasn't Vladivostok, it was Kamchatka. I thought that was quite fun.
How's that Civil War going?
Going pretty well. So I was just highlighting that I don't want to say Carlists, because they're not Carlists, they're the anarchists. The anarchists will always spawn in never eat should we top northeast, so like by Barcelona. So if you send your troops up there that are volunteers, they are going to be disappeared, I believe.
Yeah, you want to be careful
when they spawn.
That's a mistake to make, and not again.
Yeah, so I personally tend to focus grab Madrid and then push and like kind of clear upwards. For anyone who's wondering how I do the little pings, it's left control, left alt, and left click. What? Okay, my cat... I do have a cat, by the way. That's who I'm talking to half the time. And she is not happy, because she's just woken up. And apparently I'm talking too loud. Is your webcam
in
back?
the office, we'll pretend Fraser actually has a cat.
Is your webcam back? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Fantastic. Yeah, I turned it off briefly. Let me...
Oh, okay.
There we are. Hello. Where's my chat? Here. Cat content. Oh. Yeah. We've got, this is my Panzerkampfwagen Ein. So, we're going to do Legion Condor, because then that way we get some more bonuses towards max volunteer forces divisions. Which can be quite nice. 305 days for that, so we'll grab that. And I also want to go for range improvements. Okay. Here. Yeah. I need to quickly feed the cat. Can you do me a favor? Keep an eye on Malaga. We're currently attacking it. Alright. Make sure they don't break out.
I'll sit here and pretend I can control your computer. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, cat content. I am surprised. I was hoping we'd get a bit more newbie questions in here. Does anyone else...
loudly if we're winning. Okay.
You should have moused over the... Should mouse over the little icon so we can follow the days remaining.
Say again? Oh, yeah. No. Well, you see, here's the fun bit. It's Spain, so you never quite know how long you... You know how you're talking about that? That number is going to constantly change, and it's never going to show an actual figure that we can keep track of.
Oh, I know, but if you're going to go AFK, just show us a number that's changing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll get Danish preachers. Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's the fun thing about the Spanish Civil War is because, again, Spain... Where's the... Oh, there it is. That number is optimistic at best, at the best times. Alright. So
how are your supplies in general over there?
They should be fine, because I only have... Well, actually, sorry, no. They're going to be balanced. So you can see here our current fighting strength, and manpower. So they have mostly everything that they need. However, it'll be mostly fuel, I believe. Actually, no, not even that. So they've got everything that they need. No, they don't, actually. 9 out of 12 artillery pieces. They're missing a couple of them. They're missing some infantry equipment, some trucks, some support equipment, and some tanks. That's not down to us not having it. It's down to the supply situation in Spain is not going to be ideal. So, we can see right there, basically because we're fighting in a state that we don't fully control. See, there's like that white kind of like overlay.
Yeah, so I can see where you're on the tracks. I can see, okay, there seems to be a line to a port to a city, but Germany is making the supplies. So how are those getting here?
So, and that's partly the issue. So if you're to zoom out, you've got the different states, right? Because you've got the states, then you've got the province. And in this case, so we've got good supply in Sevilla. We don't have good supply in Granada. We don't have good supply in Granada because they own most of Granada. So in order for us to improve this supply here, A, it'll tick up over time, and B, once we take the port, which is also a supply hub, it'll improve. So the way we improve this situation is by taking Malaga.
Taking a port magically gives you more supplies.
It opens up the door for more supplies. Because in-game, all supply is routed through the capital. In this case, see, from Madrid. For us, it would be from both Sevilla, and therefore from Madrid, but also from the port. So, what we need to do is we need to take Madrid. Oh, sorry, no, not Madrid. We need to take Malaga, and all of this yellow is going to start turning slightly better colours. Yeah. We can't really improve it because we're not in our territory, so we can't improve the supply lines.
Also, would you really want to invest in that right now?
Sorry. It's also a case of because it's a civil war, not an external war. It's not like a full war. If it was a full war, I could improve some of the lines, but I can't in this case. Okay.
Okay, so we're getting not a lot, but some newbie question at least.
Yep.
Combat width. What's a good combat width these days?
Oh.
And I'm not talking
back in my day, back in my day used to be 7 width and 14 width. That's then changed, so nowadays you'd be looking more at having 18 width. The main reason for that, let's say like your infantry, like your bulk infantry, you generally see people talking about bricks of infantry, which would be a 3x3. Because that's essentially a solid chunk of soft attack, defense, a little bit of breakthrough, and that's really about it. And you would then buff that up using, let's say, heavy weapon company, and an anti-air battery. And that would effectively be your bulk. The main place that you get the hard attack from, you see right there, it would be from the support equipment, or support artillery, you get +1, but really it's the anti-air battery with 2. So you can see that combined with all of the hard attack there, it gives it a bit more of a bite. I personally don't use hard attack that much in my infantry, mostly because I want to have more infantry. Again, just because I do that doesn't mean it's right. I would argue actually probably the opposite. I would say this is more a case of...
Do you win more or do you lose more? I guess that determines if you're doing it alright.
No, I would probably lose more.
Okay.
You don't want to... You don't want to see my overall casualties. With the games that I play, But yeah, so we took Malaga. So what we're going to do, again, I don't want to use my tanks for fighting. So once they finish defending, I'm going to move them up and away. Have a look around. I think probably the best use... Say again?
Your tanks have leveled nicely. I like seeing those spells.
Yeah. So there is volunteers. We can now send 4. So what we're going to do is instead of sending more tanks, we're going to send 2 infantry. The reason we're going to send infantry is so that way they can back up the tanks. Yeah. So they'll turn up at some point, but for the time being, we'll just leave them. The doctrines we're mostly just waiting for our army XP to go up. What we could potentially do as well, actually, would be to send an attaché. So attachés are a really good way, again, of gaining... so you can see right there, planning speed plus 10%, organization plus 2%. But, more importantly, you also gain progress towards your masteries. The bigger the division, the more regimental support you can have. I think big divisions are a lot better than previously now. Yes, I would agree with that. You tend to see people focusing more on bigger... Where have they gone? Ah, there they are. No, that's a hill.
Next time you're looking at your planes, maybe you can go over some agility and speed.
Sure. Yep. Let me grab these guys. I'll move them up. Might actually be able to deploy more. Can I? I can. And you get, lads. I don't know how many of them I could send. We'll find out. Yeah, just those. Okay.
Is it 100 per unit you can send or division?
Not sure.
Auf geht's!
So yeah, what I'm probably going to do here is do a breakthrough down across to basically encircle these guys, and we can push down into like kind of Valencia at Alicante. So yeah, generally when it comes to my aircraft and the way that I build them, I tend to keep it relatively simple. So fighters, all I personally care about, honestly, air attack, because I want aircraft that have high air attack, so we can shoot down more of them, and a lot of relatively low production costs. And then for CAS, I'd mostly just be looking for things that have a high ground attack, and again a low production cost. So in this case, I would probably swap out from bomb locks over to small bomb bay, because you can see there ground attack 6, whereas this has 8 for the same amount of agility. This one just has slightly less towards slightly less production cost. So,
but then I just saw you doing research for range improvements.
Yes. The range improvements, that's actually a really nice way. So drop tanks give plus 25% range for just 1 production cost. So it's a really cheap way of getting a little bit more of a like a bonus towards it. Bit of a silly question. Ah, there are my guys. Come on, lads. What are we doing? Yeah.
Oh, that's one of those things, one of those pet peeves I have. If you zoom out too far, you can't select your planes anymore. But if you zoom too far, then you don't get all your planes.
So I also tend to like field engineering because I use engineering companies quite a lot. More so, honestly, than if I was to use artillery. So I'm probably going to go for that. So Spectator 76. Speed adds to agility, if I remember correctly, and agility helps to not take hits. Yes. Yep.
Razor, someone's asking if you're Swedish.
Yes. I'm from Svalbard. Many of you may know of Svalbard as being the place with polar bears. It's a fantastic place. I've never been, but I've seen it on Google Maps. Looks fantastic. No, I'm from Scotland. I am British. The closest I know to Swedish language is very bad swear words in Finnish. So we're not going to repeat any of that.
No, we've been teaching you blowhigh.
Blahaj.
Yeah, fair.
Blowhigh. Scottish. Yeah, the Scottish. I mean, I'm really not helping the stereotype. When I'm looking on my desk, I've got bars of Tunnocks that I've been eating, and I'm drinking Iron Brew. So, we're not helping. But yeah, so for this, I'm literally not going to do anything more for aircraft other than what I've kind of already got. That's fine for me. Let's go back over to industry, and we're going to go for... This one's especially important for Germany. Fuel gain from refineries and fuel gain per oil. And the reason for that being, Germany goes through a lot of oil and a lot of fuel, as referenced by the fact of... Actually, so if I... Look at this right now. My maximum consumption is 8.4k. If I was to go over to the UK, theirs is going to be like 24,000. 28,000 maximum daily consumption. As a result of His Majesty's Royal Navy. So, a lot of countries, they will go through a lot of oil. If we look at specifically the army for the UK, 645. If we were to compare that with Germany, which is much more tank heavy, we're already at 1.1 thousand. So
I wasn't paying in the beginning. Did you train your navy to get?
No, I have not touched it.
No.
Oh yeah, no. So well, here's the important thing, Per. The UK and the Royal Navy is big. They have 262 ships. Now, I can tell you from my own personal experience that they start out with like 9 carriers. 4, 8, 12. 9 carriers, 12 battleships, probably about 20 to 30 heavy cruisers each, and a couple of hundred destroyers.
Oh, I'm not saying
about 100 destroyers. So
if you want to do some kind of invasion at some point, you do want some boats there, even if you have your planes supporting them, right?
Yes, but it's much less of an issue because I care more about the fight in Spain than I do about training my ships. And right now, because of my fuel situation, I have the choice of one or the other.
Okay, so it's not like you're not doing... Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's a prioritization, because if I took my ships... Let's say I took one of these and I start training them. My supply is starting to go down very rapidly. So, I don't want to do that. So, what I do want to do, it would be go to my oil, and I don't think we hate Venezuela, so I think we will trade from them. For the time being. And trying to remember where are my guys. Here they are. Yeah. So Navy, in this case, it will come second, because my main priority is a nationalist Spain. Then also secondly, and it will have to be a case of, I also need to remember not to forget about my army, because it's 37, I need to start training up more guys. Now, fortunately, whilst this has been going on, we'll have been gaining a nice little surplus of infantry equipment, support equipment, yada, yada, yada. So we're going to have that going. That will go on in the background. And then I'm also going to look at my improved light tank. I'm going to swap over. If you remember right at the start of the game, I went for welded armor.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that being riveted armor, 2 defense, 2 breakthrough, and minus 20% cost. Cast armor, 3 defense, 3 breakthrough, 2 hardness, and plus 30% armor. So, cast armor, really expensive, but it's much thicker armor. Welded armor, imagine that being in the middle, right? So it's got decent defense, decent breakthrough, and it's got 30% armor, but it doesn't cost 20% as much as the cast armor does.
I see the chromium, and for some reason I cringe every time I see a chromium need. Maybe I'm playing the wrong countries, but...
What do you mean?
No, this memory of not having enough chromium.
Yeah. So, welded costs chromium, though. Yes, it does.
No.
Yeah. But it is actually quite interesting. So, do you know the context of why we've got the 3 options here? And
historical context? I'm guessing there's
Yeah, so initially most countries tended to use riveted armor. Because again, it was a production technique that was still used today. All 3 of them still used today. Riveted armor. One of the core issues that they found with it was that the bolts themselves could end up being quite a weak point. Cast armor, that was something that the Americans did, and that was based a lot from their own production experience in the automobile industry, and I think as well also actually agriculture as well. They were really good when it came to casting. And then I believe it was the Russians that also used, and the Soviets used quite a lot of welded armor. If I remember that correctly. And that was, again, one of the major benefits of some of the Soviet medium tanks was their production. Because it was significantly cheaper compared to what the Germans were making. And it was also I guess, just different design formula. So, yeah.
Yeah, and to the comment in chat as well, I see the occasional complaint, and I'm not sure how knowledgeable some players are, that our developers don't know history. But if they could see how much budget all our developers get to order history books, how much time they spend, not even in the opposite of their free time, doing so much historical research, it's insane.
I think one massive thing that is really important to recognize, it's a game, and that there is always going to be that balance between historical accuracy versus how much you can gamify things. Because at the end of the day, it's a product, it's a game. And so there is going to be a fair amount of abstraction that will take place in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a valid thing to highlight. But again, it's one of those where when you consider how many players play Hoi, unfortunately it's not going to be a perfect fit for everybody. There's always going to be a compromise to be made, I think.
Yeah, I think that's just the way it is. If you have enough players, you're not going to be able to please everyone 100%, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But at least a lot of people still enjoy the game, so that's good.
Yeah.
I really love seeing that. There is another request.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Can we go over the importance of infrastructure versus railroad for getting supplies?
Yes. So, I would say probably the main thing, and it's kind of difficult for me to show since this is a civil war. But if we were to look at, let's say, Madrid, we can see that Madrid has 3 infrastructure and 2 railways. So the infrastructure itself helps with fuel capacity, but also I wonder actually if Gareth is. I wonder if Gareth is here, because he'd probably be able to explain supply a little bit more than I can. You can see specifically, so the supply from state, I think, is improved with infrastructure, and railroads help specifically with supply being drawn from the capital, I believe. So what that means is if you've got the supply hub here, or you've got the capital hub here, that will then be delivered to the other supply hubs. The capital hub delivers to supply hubs then go to the individual units. So you can see there with the tooltip, supply hubs distribute supply to nearby provinces, yada yada yada. To increase the range and supply provided by supply hub, consider using the upgrade railways command, or changing motorization, or upgrade the infrastructure level. I don't know exactly what the specific benefit is between them. I just know that generally infrastructure is a more generalized, and railways is specific for the supply line. Does that make sense? Maybe not. I think TLDR...
sorry to interrupt again.
Go on.
I think we may be getting some questions anyway that maybe if we don't answer them 100% right now, we can do a follow-up next week.
Yeah.
And post some Q&As.
Clear as mud. Yeah. Infrastructure is to distribute the supply, railways to increase the supply to distribute. That's a much clearer way of wording it. Thank you, Woofer.
It's getting there.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just not making any breakthrough there, so we're not going to waste our time too much longer. I think at this point, I'm just going to send the lads up to Tortosa. Just go
I
around.
also want the drinking game for every time, at any time, we get the requests to nerf UK because invasions are too hard.
But I think the problem is... I don't even know where to start with that, actually, so I'm not even going to bother. One big thing that you learn whenever you play Germany is how many not garrisons, but how many units you need to have on your D-Day wall. It's a lot.
Wait, am I hearing your units now because you zoomed in?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I do like hearing those.
Yeah. What am I doing? What are we doing? Take a heed of doing it. So these guys are now effectively trapped in a pocket. What we want to try and do is just knock that out, and then we can focus on Barcelona. And I'm actually gonna take one of these guys over to support that. But in theory, they should break through here, clean up this pocket. You can see, they've got like the 2 bars, the green bar and the orange bar. That is mirrored with ours. We've got the organization in green and the strength in orange. So you can see again with the tooltip, organization indicates the combat readiness and how organized a unit is. A unit with no organization can't fight or move more effectively. So basically, if a unit's organization is really low, they're not going to be able to advance the front line. If a unit has no strength, then they're dead. So you increase the strength by giving them equipment, making sure they've got supplies, making sure they've got the manpower, and making sure they have HP. The HP is recovered by picking back up more supply in units, or more supply and manpower. So these guys, they're broken. So even though there's like five divisions here, they're pretty much broken. Because they're in a pocket with no supply. So we're just going to knock them out. Yeah, we will invest. No, we won't. So, knock these guys out and then we can move on. But yeah, if we look at our supply situation is going to be pretty bad because we are on the kind of the far fringe of the supply line, and we're also technically fighting in contested states. So, and we're also attacking into mountains, but realistically, I don't care. I don't particularly care about that. The main thing I care about is just getting this finished. And you can see what they're going to be doing is they're just going to be trying to reform and push back, but they're just going to run out of supply eventually. So, leave that for the time being. And if we go to our... have a look, see what we want. I think, let's just get... Runestead on there, and then we can also grab Rommel for the armor division and armor division attack and defense. Quite nice. Look at our supply. Got plenty of light tanks, so we're going to 2 of those, like 5 of those, and we are going to be out of fuel soon.
You always leave that training on infinite, or is that just something you're doing?
No, I personally do. The main reason why, it is infinite for as long as I need it.
Yeah, fair. Supplies could go somewhere else once you have enough.
Yeah, so, okay, so they're cleared up. Grab these guys, push straight onto Valencia. And then we're just going to go on a trip down the coast. Yeah, I mean, I've got them training infinitely for a limited amount of time. Because I don't know how many divisions I actually want until I get there, and then I'll stop.
And you're not even setting a location, so you're just...
No, wing it. Yeah, wing it.
Right.
What I tend to do is I'll just leave it, and then now that you've mentioned it, I'll probably set it for, like, Brandenburg. It doesn't really matter. I tend to leave...
It's interesting, as well as I know you. I would have thought you're the kind of person who needs to micro that as well, but maybe you've just played it so often that it's like...
I'll wing it. I just wait till I get the tooltip, then I press it, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't really want to do another special project yet for the time being, but we are getting to the end of November, which means we can cancel these 2, because they're not in production yet, and by the time that's finished, that one's going to be March, yeah, by the time that finishes, we'll have a bunch of those going.
Are you clicking those randomly, or are you going by the percentages?
Randomly. Well, no, it's not. It's half random. What I do is I focus on which ones have the infrastructure first, because that's the immediate benefit. Secondly, would be if I wanted to do this properly, I'd probably do high infrastructure first. I probably wouldn't do them on the coast because I might want to save the ones on the coast for dockyards, and also doing them on states that have dams can also be really nice there. So you see the local available resources, local construction speed. So if I wanted to further optimize this, actually, what I would do is I would do the ones on the dams first, because they are built faster, and I can have more of them there. And then I would then do... I wouldn't do dockyards right now. I'd probably more likely do synthetic refineries, and I would tend to have them kind of in Brandenburg. The reason I would have them in Brandenburg is because I don't want them to get bombed. and they're more likely to get bombed the closer they are to France. So I'll put them in Brandenburg, and then I'll leave it there.
Oh, you don't know. Maybe Poland's feeling cheeky today.
Yeah, there could be, you
know. Just since we're taking it easy today, I remembered that I posted on Reddit a while ago asking people what tips they think newbies could benefit from.
Yeah. Oh no, the AI is. So the core issue. I'm gonna have to interrupt you, Pear.
Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing that Spain is not very good at is supporting you. Because
I've played Spain, I know.
Yeah. Normally what you would want, and normally what you'd watch for is when you're making a breakthrough like that, if you're tunneling, or if you're rushing, or if you're beelining, whatever you want to call it, make sure that your back is covered. Now, that's why you take the infantry as well as the tanks, because whilst your tanks make the breakthrough, you leave the infantry there to cover your back. I forgot about that, because I expected too much from the Spanish AI. Fortunately, I'm a developer, and this is entirely scripted. This is all pre-recorded content. So I don't need to worry about having a failure there. Kidding. That could have been really bad, because I could have just been encircled and lost the entire thing. But we didn't. We didn't. So, focus on the airbase. Yeah. Yeah. You never expect the Spanish Inquisition, Pear.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
So if you're done with your Spanish shenanigans, oh, well, there you go. Perfect timing. Give it
scripted or what, chat? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, you just did, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, just the top tip, for example, was how garrisons actually work.
Ooh. So, garrisons, if I go to occupied territories, it's not really going to matter right now because I don't have any that are resisting. But what you would do is you'd have, if you look here, you've got primary garrison template. So what units are put in? What units are put into garrison? Historically, you tended to use cavalry divisions because cavalry had lower manpower requirements. So lower manpower requirements, and in general, their production cost was less, but they could also have better or somewhat equivalent suppression. So suppression is how much of an effect they have on the population. The other way that you increase that is with, there's my research, go to support companies, military police. That's what they're there for. So you see the suppression bonus. So the best way to go about it would be you have cavalry division with military police. And the reason for that being is that they are cheaper. And they also are they're gonna be cheaper for manpower and production. It's long story short for that one. And then secondly, you've then got the lore, so the territory requirement. And you've got these ones. However, if you go to tag SOV, Soviets have a special one. Because they also have liberated workers. So, for all of these, you can see they kind of have two main ones, which is the resistance target, which is the resistance, right? And then you've also got the compliance. So, in theory, if you're to do harsh quotas, it would give state modifiers more resources, but it will cost more for required garrisons, and also their compliance is going to reduce over time. So that means they're going to be unhappy over time. If you were to do the police force, so let's say this one here, local police force.
That's kind of my go-to. What about you?
Say again?
That's generally my go-to. It's an easy one.
Yeah, it is, and it's the main benefit for that is it reduces the likelihood, like the resistance target. It reduces how much of a chance you have for them doing stuff. I would say probably the best one in game is the liberated workers, specifically because it's kind of in the middle ground where, you know, if my mouse is dead. If you're to have liberated workers, it's minus 15% resistance target. You still reduce, so less of a target. You still lose compliance over time, but not as much as some of the other ones, and it doesn't cost as many people. So that's quite a nice one if you're playing the Soviets. But just broadly, if you're not playing the Soviets, if you're playing like the Germany, I'd say probably use local police force. It's kind of the easier one.
Since you just tagged over to Soviets, is the AI going to turn it back again, or?
That's a very good point. I don't know.
Don't think it matters too much right now.
Wait, actually, tag GR. We'll find out. well, remind me in fun. No, Germany. So, one thing I really hate about how the AI does things.
Did you let it play while you were tagged?
Yeah, I pressed spacebar. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a big. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're now just doing Führer Prinzip. That's fine.
It's barely started.
I know. It's that wasn't what I was thinking about, Per. It's this because it's just pushed out.
Instant. Wow.
Alright.
I think you can shift click them at the top.
Yeah, I just didn't think of that.
Yeah, just planes. I don't push one key on the key. It's interesting to see you micro your UI.
Yeah, especially when I'm the one saying like never do that. It's fine. I'm gonna fix that in a minute. Now teach us save scumming. Well, you see, I could actually do that. Get them trained up.
What?
Oh no, you know what the worst bit?
Oh no! Really?
Yeah, because the AI is. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, chat.
You're still there.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. It's just. the classic.
But this is over here, so people can learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It sounds fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. It's fine.
This is fine.
This is fine. Save that. Rename it. And I actually don't know how to. I can't remember how I recommission it.
Isn't it the circle again on the right in the list? Isn't that how you decommission? Hang on.
Yeah. I got it. Thank you. Fine. Fine, payoff.
Hey, it's not often I know something more you don't, so this is a proud moment for me.
Can we get a moderator in your chat to moderator in chat? There's someone in Twitch chat saying majestic Irish accent.
How do I give them bonus points?
No, hang on. That's not how that works. I don't work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll recommission those.
Yeah, definitely not Irish.
No. So yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. These guys. This is fine. It's fine. Did the devs do prioritize economic growth? Economic growth. It's fine, he says, crying inside. Yeah. So, yeah, basically that's done. We've got those guys training up for the time being. Train you guys up as well. What did you do to my beloved Germany? Okay, so we got our volunteers back. Now what we want to do is just essentially bulk up our army, because we're going to want to go down Anschluss, and in order to get Anschluss, you can see there... Sorry, I unplugged that. In order to get Anschluss, we need... the German army is at least 19 times bigger than the Austrian army when counting only properly trained units. And I love that, because we used to have a thing back in ye olde time where essentially you could just push out units that were half trained and deployed, so they were green, and they would count towards basically Anschluss, and then you would just delete them.
I mean, you can still push them out when they're not complete.
Yeah, but it's one of those where it's kind of pointless doing that now.
No, but when you get to that point, you really need it, and you're missing those 500, then forced to block. No.
Yeah. So, another good example, I mentioned this earlier on, so the effects, if they accept, the total army fighting strength required for Anschluss will be lowered, so instead of us needing 19 times that, we're going to say he needs to go, we lose some political power, but it's now 18 times bigger, rather than 19 times bigger, which is good. So, that's
also,
good.
I think this is still accurate. That if you send divisions to a civil war and they're in transit, those numbers don't count.
I don't know. I would say you'd probably know that better than I would. So I would take your word for it.
So it's never that urgent, but you can get stuck waiting 2 weeks for those units to arrive just to get your numbers up enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, inf spam was fun.
Yeah.
So much for German efficiency.
Yeah, we're gonna keep training those guys up. Then we don't need that. Go for soft attack. It's usually quite helpful. Bloomin' Voss, we're not gonna worry about the navy. I do think we're going to do some anti-democratic raids at some point. That would probably be an idea. But our Grand Doctrine, we don't really need to worry about that because we're playing as Germany and, well, unless we want to go for Mountaineers or Marines, well, I don't think we're going to get to the stage where we need Marines. Yeah, so... Give me 1 second. Let me just double check because I sort of had a... You messaged me on... You did? Okay, I'm just reading your message now. The one that you said.
Called it out.
Okay.
I see someone in chat saying their game keeps crashing, and I think we have a standard list for that comment. Are you using mods? Have you updated the game?
Yeah.
And verify your game files in Steam.
Yeah.
That's usually 50% of the problem.
Yeah. So the problem is that when we're talking about game crashes, there could be 1,000,001 things that could cause it.
It can be.
So
that's also why
covering the basics first, yeah. So yeah, let's go to probably the infantry
What about
guy.
all those streams we get a forum post where someone says game problem, no mods, and then their first screenshot is an
UI mod. Yeah.
Yeah, those I really like.
And it's I think what I would highlight for that is it just goes to show how even something as simple as a UI mod, any form of modification to the game could have a potential effect on stability, even if it doesn't seem like it does. Hey guys, I had a question about any plans to combat the cheater outbreak in multiplayer. I would actually want to reference the open beta we put out today, if that's okay with you, Per.
There's that, and already changes we've done before, and we're improving on now, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, or I think it was... Yeah, so specifically the specifically on Wednesday, we announced that we have done some multiplayer hardening to host operations, such as kicking and banning players in multiplayer to prevent some of the malicious interactions, such as what you're referring to. So we have been working on that. I would recommend, if you are still having issues, consider playing on the open beta, because I would be inclined to say, if you're still having these issues, I'm guessing you're playing on the stable branch. Would be my guess.
Gandalf, what do you mean vanilla or DLC change? Fraser talks so fast, the context could be 3 different things.
Yeah. They are referring to garrisons were divisions you had to build yourself. It was an old thing. I think like La Resistance. So basically... Yeah. So... when we talk about garrisons, we talk about this pair.
Thanks, Fraser. I know garrisons. I wasn't sure what the question was about, though.
Yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, so the garrisons are referring to, like, occupation. Back in ye olde day, they used to be actual physical, like, you would build them as, like, standard divisions. At least I believe that's what Gandalf was talking about back in the old days. Yeah. Again, it's a really good example of obviously the game is over 10 years old at this point, so there has been a number of changes in direction in terms of creative focus and how things are displayed or shown, which I think is a good thing. You know, what I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. I'm thinking, because it's 38, so we're gonna want to work towards getting Anschluss. So whilst we're doing that, we need to build up the army, but I'm also thinking of, okay, well, whilst we're doing this, let's go down Führerprinzip. So that activates the inner circle mechanic, which is this one down here, and we can basically take a couple of people and basically have them as effectively more specialized advisors. So I think we will do probably this one for the armaments. It's probably going to be a good option.
You know, if you can't choose, just tag out and press space.
Yeah. Paradox buff Germany.
Okay, then.
In what way? How are we buffing Germany?
I think we did with Götterdämmerung, but that might just be me.
And also, actually, post Götterdämmerung, following Graveyard of Empires, we did do a number of war efforts specifically geared towards the balance between the Soviet Union and Germany, because there was briefly a period where they didn't really know how to use tanks, but that's been addressed. So, again, not to say that it's perfect, but we tend to get a lot of our feedback on the state of the game on the forum, on Reddit, especially following things like the open beta. So if there are things that you feel, you know, quite strongly about, maybe that, you know, oh, the UK needs a better navy tree, I would recommend that you consider popping that on the forum. You know, or if you think that Germany is a little bit too strong, maybe a little bit too weak, forum's a good space for that.
Yeah, and maybe we should mention, just in case it's not obvious to everyone, we have a lot of places you can give us feedback.
Yeah.
So you can go to X or Blue Sky or Insta, or even on TikTok now. Facebook, if like me, you're feeling a little bit grayer, you know, that's fine too.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
I would highlight... Yeah.
There's still people who don't know we have a Discord server, an official Discord server. So yeah, there's that.
I would definitely highlight if you are struggling to defeat the Soviet Union, that may be a skill issue. Now, granted, I do play quite frequently with pair, so I understand the frustration of potentially playing with people who aren't always the best at the game. But it's you'll learn, you'll get there.
Well, that's why I played Germany. I don't need buffs.
Yeah, you're getting there, pair. Don't worry.
Even I playing Germany can defeat Russia.
Yeah, you are getting better.
But I mean, it also depends. Maybe they're playing Iron Man.
Yeah,
maybe they're playing.
It could be playing. You could be playing against really buffed Italy as an example. I mean, hey, we did that last week, a couple of weeks ago. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, you're bringing back some trauma there.
Yeah, but no, it's at the end of the day, it is a challenging game. And I would definitely say like that. There's no harm in.
No, and I have seen plenty of people actually recently posting on places like Reddit where they were having some issues with Russia. Yep. Again, we're here for the new players, so it can be very hard. Or I think there are pros or even developers who make the game, who've been playing for years, who will still every once in a while go, "Oh, didn't know that little thing," or "Oh, when did that change?"
Like, if I could teach my grandmother how to use a printer, we can teach Per how to play Germany. All right. But yeah, if there are any particular things, Gergo, that you are having difficulties with, feel free to pop them in chat, because it could be something, if it's like supply, logistics, maybe you're not quite sure how to build your division, stuff like that. If you actually look at maybe try and break down the problem, you might be able to figure out the solution yourself, the problem yourself. So yeah, I think for now,
what would be a common issue fighting Russia? I think you can get bogged down and not have supply. Run out of power.
Bigger issue I see a lot of people have is actually supply and the equipment. They just run out of infantry equipment.
Yeah, or maybe much
or manpower. Manpower is another big one, and it tends to be because they just don't have enough. They focus too much on units with soft attack and low hardness. Don't wall push. Yeah, it's you see people who try and attrition the Soviets, and the problem is it doesn't work that well unless you're built for attrition.
Yeah, no, I don't know how old this strategy was, but wasn't it basically cut through and circle, repeat?
Yeah.
Small.
I mean, that still is, but I would say one of the main things people, I think, could benefit more from is learning how to more effectively micro units. The best way I would describe it is you use the AI, like your field marshals. They do the macro management, and then you do more of the micro management. Yeah. I forgot one thing I said I wanted to do, and I haven't done it. Would have been armored engineer companies, because I quite like those, and I forgot. So we're gonna do that soon. So yeah, if we do Panzer Grenadier, that one's quite nice because we get modified Blitzkrieg by motorized plus 10%, which is good. And then Anschluss, we can now start that. So we can do. Yeah, we can start that in a minute. So that'd be nice. More tanks. Thank you very much.
You did not just say that.
What?
Yeah, it also mentions spies, and it's definitely good advice. That's a whole nother dimension to really dig into and learn how that works. And that's also a mid to long-term plan, getting them to do their operation, getting your agency set up.
It can be as simple as you just make an agency, you grab your guy, you stick him on the front line, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you could, if you wanted to, completely forget about all of the agency branches. if you wanted to, and that's again the beauty of this is like there's so many ways that you can kind of work around things. So
you
yeah,
can
this
do it
is
easier, you can make it harder.
yeah. So, what I'm doing right there, remove that. So basically what I've done, I mentioned this earlier on, I like when I'm going for my Mayos, I like going for production output and just production stuff, because I don't care how good the gun is, I care about how many of the guns I have. Because I don't want to run out of guns. So, I've done 1, 2, 3, going down there, and instead of going for the infantry equipment with semi-auto rifles, for the soft attack to break through, but the reduced efficiency, I've gone for the one that reduces the soft attack for increased efficiency gain. And then straight across to like production efficiency and production efficiency output and cap, because I just want to have as many of them as I can. Because again, that's how...
It's not an overall thing, because having played Germany enough, at some point you reach that point, you don't really run out of any supplies anymore.
You get to that stage if you manage your supply lines.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. Can you change your MIOs later?
Yeah, you can change. You can, but it's again, it comes down to, do you want to do that? Because if you invest into one of them, you're kind of investing for the long haul, I would say.
Mm.
Okay, Siam is letting me down right now, so we're going to swap out from you, and we're going to go to Brazil.
That's not a lot of supply. At some point, you reach that point where you just have to give up for a little bit until supplies get better again.
Yeah. Worst case, you trade someone you dislike, like British Malaya in this case. Yeah. And again, the reason... Yeah. So we're going to go for a little bit more motorized, going into mechanized. And whilst all of that is going in, I'm not even going to look at what they did to my navy. Why do I stay civilian economy? Because I've been so focused on talking, I completely forgot to change that. Very good point. Yeah, generally you want to try and move up onto like kind of partial mob and going into like war economy relatively early on, basically as soon as you can kind of afford it, because that's a really good way again of actually cutting down on the consumer goods that you're using. So if you were to go to construction, again, I'm using 27 of my civs on consumer goods. I could cut that down significantly more by going on to a better economy. So, yeah.
What's that going on over just above Bucharest?
Where's Bucharest?
On the bottom right now. Is that just you can raid, or?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. That's a raid option. Yes. So that is from Götterdammerung. I got Bucharest and Budapest confused, so I was looking at that. Yeah, basically it's a way that you can, if I use 40 strategic bombers, I can disable that. So as an example, if the UK, if I had visibility on their naval facility, I could do the same for them against that, or I could do, for example, a raid against to bomb Big Ben. So yeah, it's the same actually as this one. So I could raid the dam in the Ardennes and blow that up if I had the bouncing bomb project. So, which I don't, but I could. But I don't.
I'm just screenshotting a quote to send to our marketing folks for our next Reddit campaign. Guys, I can't stress enough how many games of yours have ruined my life. Keep up the good work.
Yeah. Would you... Let me gauge the waters here. If I was to say something that would be good for the brand, but might potentially reflect that I may have missed a very important meeting with you because I had been playing Hoi 4 till about 2 in the morning. How mad would you be? Let's check. Let's just check here. Hypothetical.
I mean, you were engaged in your work?
Yes, I was prepping for the 10-year anniversary game, and I really didn't want to lose it because it was multiplayer.
I think I would be more disappointed that you didn't tell me. I'm a parent. I don't get mad. I'm just disappointed.
Good to know. Okay, just checking where we sit with that. I'm going to start with medium tanks. Yeah, I think I know you pretty well. So, yeah, if we look at our logistics for now, in general, we're doing quite well. The main thing we are having a deficiency on is light tanks, which is because we still have a bunch of those being kind of pushed out. We can cancel some of these for the time being. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys. Nothing personal. And that's going to put us back into our green zone for now. Don't worry about that. So we've got more air training up for now. We're currently doing Anschluss. You guys over there. And we're basically just training up an army, training up the Air Force. And I'm also going to swap over to War Economy before we lose more viewers on YouTube who are asking why I'm still in Civilian Economy. So swap that over.
Chat is suggesting I destroy you in multiplayer. Do you want to enlighten them as to the chances of that happening?
You know what? I think I think you're getting better at the game.
Now, be honest.
I think that it wouldn't be particularly fun or sporting to beat up an old man.
Right.
Yeah. I'd say it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to watch.
To watch me try, sure.
Yeah. So we're going to do Restart Eastern Claims, or we could do Demand Sudetenland. We can't do Demand Sudetenland yet because we need a little bit more men. I need more men in my life, so we are going to pop a couple more of those guys out, and we'll get them in a second. Instead of just wait.
Sure.
Huh?
I wasn't sure you would, but you did go there.
We're gonna squeeze Yugoslavia because again we want to try and apply pressure. Do I want to support a coup in Liechtenstein? Liechtenstein. It's like someone asking me to pronounce purple burglar alarm. Like it's not happening. Nah.
Yeah,
always...
the idea of me playing Germany and you playing Poland. I can do that.
Sure, I'm down for that. That'd be fun. We're gonna do that for now. Grab some more of our guys, put you there, and what I do want to remember to do, because I always forget about this, I'm gonna change up their divisions over to my divisions because my divisions are better, and also I don't want to be in a situation where I use one of their divisions and it turns out they've got some really weird supply requirements, because I like standardization of equipment.
Zoom in a little bit more, close your eyes, and click 5 times.
No, I will have you know that I'm quite specific about where I want those to go. So we can select a new faction goal, because we've done Unite the German States. Now we're going to go for expand the faction, because sooner or later we're going to be doing that. 1, 2, 3. Everyone there. 1 goes in there. You can have Franz Boom. That's a Austrian guy, I believe. and grab you guys as well. And yeah, we are now over the requirements, so we're going to cancel that for now. So we still gain some stuff towards that. So if you're to cancel midway through, you would still gain 10 days on the next one that you do. It's not a massive loss for swapping out before it's finished. So we'll do that. And we got radios. So let's go over to Armored Engineer Companies. Go to our tank. Again, before I forget. Upgrade that to Radio 2. That's got automatic cannon. Swap that out to an improved small cannon, because it's better. It's a 2-man turret. I could swap that out to a 3-man turret, because 3 is always better than 2, because it's a bigger number. And you can see it's got better breakthrough.
But how does it affect your other stats?
Not massively.
Generally, you get something nicer, your speed goes down, or?
No, so in this case, a little bit. So 2-man turret versus 3-man turret is going to be a little bit heavier. It's mostly the production cost for that, which I don't mind too much. Welded armor for that. Yeah,
I was checking. Did you change your economy yet?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You say so.
Yes, I did. I knew I did. So yeah, let's go to quick improvisation. I didn't select that, the AI did. So change that over. We want maneuver warfare, because then you get the 5% division speed, coordination plus 5% is quite nice. And then as well, this one's also quite good. State serves the military for the offensive war penalty stability modifier later on. Could be quite helpful, but for now I don't need to worry about that. Then I'm going to leave the remaining army XP for now. So we've done Anschluss. Now we're doing demand Sudetenland, and that is for us to grab a little bit more of Czechoslovakia. Then we're going to go against Poland and France, yada yada yada. What I would recommend for that is that we put one army group, or one army, on the Maginot Line, so we know that they're not going to be able to push it. Then we just push all of our forces into Poland, take Poland. Once that's done, hold them at the border, and we're going to do a surprise Schlieffen plan up through Belgium and the Netherlands. We'll actually involve the Netherlands this time, and we'll push in, take France from the north. So.
Well, I didn't know that, but Fraser probably did. The first German tank design that had a 3-man turret was the Panzer III?
Yeah, Panzer III. Yes. Yep, because Panzer II was again one of their first implementations of a light tank. The Germans did a lot of their tank production development under the auspices of Landwerk with Sweden. But they also did a lot of their testing at a tank training school in Russia, which is where basically that's one of the reasons why the Soviets and the Germans had quite an extensive experience with armored warfare. Wouldn't say combined arms, because that wasn't really implemented by them yet. But it was really the Spanish Civil War was effectively the trial by fire for German techniques with regards to. This started long back in the Weimar Republic. Yes, Landwerk. So it was even 1920s era Landwerk. But it was, you know. It was a long time coming, basically. So there's a lot of people who believe that Blitzkrieg was a German invention. The actual tactics behind it was initially documented by a British Army guy during British training, Obviously, the words or the name Blitzkrieg was a newspaper thing. It was never referred to as the Blitzkrieg. That was a very much a news thing. Yeah. Was it Percy Hobart? I don't know. I can't remember that. I'd say my memory's pretty hazy with a lot of this stuff, where I remember the interesting bits. Like, I remember the interesting bits. I can't remember the other. I'm very much into pop history. I'm very, very honest about that. Unless it's naval history, in which case I remember a little bit more. You know, I'm really kind of forced to by my job. It's horrible.
Terrible. What do we make you do?
Yeah. Will there be conditional surrender rework or more limited wars? I don't know. I don't know. If these are things that you are interested in, I would recommend that you post them on the forum. Again, forum is a really good place for us to gauge what people are interested in, what they want, and maybe it would be something that it might align with what the wider plans are, but I wouldn't know. I am but a lowly community specialist playing a video game.
We're all one community.
Yeah.
What we can say is that there should be quite an interesting dev corner this coming Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. It's like that song from Greece. You know, tell me more, tell me more. What's the dev corner about?
Yeah, quit your day job.
You would say that. You're my manager. So, yeah. So, what I'm doing, support equipment's now going to be the main thing that's actually kind of starting to fall behind a little bit. Do I want to move things off? Yeah. Take some time. Athena, do you want to take part in the Anschluss? Okay. What do you think has been like the most interesting thing about working on Boy?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm asking you.
I think it's meeting all the people, especially on Studio Gold, obviously, but also just the Paradox.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm astounded at the skill and the knowledge and how fun everyone is.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. So we're going to do RWE because that gives us consumer goods factories, which is quite nice. We're going to stick on limited conscription. And let's go with Manstein. No, we're going to go with Guderian because then we get the plus 10% max speed for armor technology, which is nice. Pause the game a second. MP38. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Alright.
We have some historians in chat. I love seeing that.
Yes, actually, yes, that's the one. Yeah, so the German tank school was near Kasan on the river Volga. Volga, not Volga. Volga? Was opened in 1929 and was closed in 1933. Yes. But during that period, a lot of guys went through that school. And were later used as part of the restructured... basically, the restructure of the Heer and the German army. So, it's one of those where 4 years doesn't sound like a lot of time, but really the amount of experience that was gained there, that was then redistributed across the reconstituted German army, was significant. Yeah. All right.
I have another question. I think I've asked you this before, but it might be interesting for, just in case there's any newbies here.
Yeah.
How important is it to know history when you're playing this game, or at least the bigger history?
I would say it can be quite helpful because it gives you a frame point or like frame of reference, right? You know that if I think about key moments in like a historical Hoi 4 game, you're looking at your Spanish Civil War, your Anschluss, your Czechoslovakia, Poland, for France, Norway, North Africa, then going into, Barbarossa, Pearl Harbor, yada, yada, yada. And what you would be referring to there is, okay, well, it's 1938, I've already done Spanish Civil War, I've already done Anschluss, so that's Austria, I've already taken Czechoslovakia. Logically, the next thing I should be going for now would be Poland. I know that logically the next thing after Poland would be the Netherlands and Belgium, then after that's going to be France. So it's not massively important, but it gives you a better indication of, well, what is the AI going to be doing? Right? Because I know that, let's say I skip one of those steps. Let's say I skip, let's say if I skip Austria, then I'm not going to have enough to get Czechoslovakia. If I don't have Czechoslovakia, I'm not going to have enough equipment or industrial capacity to deal with Poland and France. If I can't deal with Poland and France, I'm dead. If I don't take Norway, I'm probably going to be getting a lot of naval invasions for the next X amount of years. Because let's say if I occupied Norway, they're more likely to focus on trying to take Norway than they are to take me. So, not always, but that's just like a general indicator. It's also one of those where, like, let's say I'm playing as the UK, I should know roughly, okay, well, that's how far Germany is along on that historical path. I should know what to kind of anticipate next.
Yeah.
So that way you're not sitting there going, okay, well, Germany's promised that they're going to stop after Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, I think I saw that speech.
Yeah. Having the historical frame point allows you to sit there and go, it was at this moment he knew he made a slight mistake.
Yeah.
So we're going to do fake Czechoslovakia. When you attack France, do you declaration of war on Netherlands alone, or do you do the historical declaration Netherlands Belgium at the same time? I don't know. I personally, like, if I was playing this on my own, I'd probably just take Netherlands first. I mean, if I was being cheeky, I'd take Netherlands before I even help out in the Spanish Civil War, but that's just me being cheeky. I wouldn't do that in a historical game. I would say, honestly, probably the better way of doing it is declare on France first, then the Netherlands, Belgium, because if you take them first, then France is more likely to garrison that border. If they are neutral when the war's going on, they'll take those units and put them on the Maginot and the Pear, you're quite good with maps. What's this part of? What's the? Is it still the Alps down at the bottom between like France and Italy? Is that still the Alps?
Actually, you'd think so. Would they rename a mountain range halfway through?
I don't know. I don't think so. Yes, it is. Sorry. Again, we work in a map game. We should know that.
Well, we can't know every pixel on the map.
Yeah.
Let's add some geography lessons to this, yeah?
Yeah. All right. Now,
there you go. Yes, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. Himalayas.
Yeah, maybe that's where wizards should stay every once in a while.
Hey, if you want to book us a work trip to the the French Alps, I mean, hey, sure, there's plenty of history there we can learn about.
Yeah, or some James Bond movies to reenact.
Yes. So yeah, for the time being, I'm not going to build any more guys because we kind of have...
What's going on with the infantry equipment there? That red number isn't really getting better.
That one there? No, so that is the balance, and it's effectively saying that I was initially taking 500 per day. No, because what I had just finished, Per, I don't like Bulgaria. In-game, to be clear.
No, there's and snip.
What had just happened, Per, is I had just finished making divisions, and they all of a sudden got their supply, so it took like 500, a day. So it's fine, basically.
Oh, that's
so I've got...
it's red after the Spanish Civil War.
Yeah, so it's one of those. It was primarily from division reinforcements, but it's now fine. So the main thing I'm going to do now is going to be just try and get a little bit more supply for all of my units. Can I gas them up a little bit with more equipment, a little bit more fuel, and then we should be getting Fate Czechoslovakia soon. Then following that would then be moving down on to realistically race our Eastern Claims. So that's going to be getting a little bit of Poland. And then after that would be then going down on to Danzigo War. So, we are getting close. And the main thing I'm also doing as well, whilst we're doing this, I'm also just like slowly training up air. Yeah. Will you look to take the UK before starting on Russia? Probably not. Given, I think we've got about an hour left on this stream, give or take. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Normally I would play this on 4-speed, but just given the fact of we're doing a lot of yapping, I played it more on 3-speed, so I didn't miss too much.
And you can always take the save game over to your own stream this weekend if you wanted to.
Yeah, true. Yeah. If you're playing the long game, I would. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd be looking at how can I invade the UK, and it would predominantly be taking naval supremacy through the Channel and maybe also the North Sea as well. But I would have built towards naval bombers.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? At some point, you have to go non-historical.
Yeah, I mean, it's also one of those where, like... Nah, I'm not... Yeah. Where is the man in the bunker? He's in the Batcave. I'm looking at your background. You've got the little bat thing in the corner, which I don't know if they can see that, actually. I think they can.
Yeah, I think they can.
Yeah. And Fraser, what is your favourite country to play Hoi for? Simple. Iceland.
Was it always, or is it now?
It is now, from the last 2 years. I'm gonna challenge people in chat to try and figure out why do I like playing Iceland? And what do you think I like doing as Iceland? Per, you're not allowed to answer.
I'm gonna take a 5-minute break again, and you can...
Okay, go for it.
Chat what's going on with Iceland.
Yeah, go for it. It's close to Scotland. It's not that. Destroyer spam. Yeah. Unironically, actually, yeah. Iceland. The The reason being, a lot of time, obviously, I work in Hoi 4 for a living. So I spend 40 hours a week working on this game. I don't always want to then in my free time sit down and play like a really stressful game of like Germany, and I'm like, you know, like the memes of the guy and he's just sweating. He's like, he's in the airplane. He's trying to land the airplane. He's sweating all over. I don't want to be like stressing when I play games. So honestly, playing Iceland and just being really annoying with destroyers or like doing convoy raiding, stuff like that, it's quite funny. So I do actually prefer that. Yeah. Liberate Scotland from the UK. I've actually not... I was about to say I've not done that. I have. I did that with a friend of mine actually one time. That's quite fun. So let's just have a look. And yeah, basically all I'm doing, I'm just grabbing some of our aircraft. I'm training them up a little bit. You guys are going to go on, even though they're tactical bombers, they still do the job. The Vikings path. I do really like that. It helps if I unpause the game as well, actually. Yeah, I quite enjoy Iceland's tree. I do quite enjoy Iceland's tree. Especially that bit, but... yeah, it's quite nice. I think a question I would have for you guys is, what is your favourite tree? If you guys had to pick one. There are no trees in Iceland. Has anyone ever been... Has anyone here been to Iceland? Like, assuming that no one is from Iceland, has anyone been to Iceland? Because I really want to go visit at some point. That or the Faroe Islands. Yeah, the Faroe Islands up here. Poland. Poland's quite a nice one. I think what I like about Poland is it's quite self-contained as well. Like, in the grand scheme of things. Hey Fraser, can you choose a nation for you? You don't own Thunder Adder Gates DLC. Okay, well, I would say Australia is one of my new favourites as well. So outside of that, put the squeeze in Yugoslavia. Finland. Finland. I really like Finland. Mannerheim, Finland is probably one of my favourites. I think top 3, top 4. Iceland, UK, Australia, and Finland. Now, I don't want anyone to mention that to Gareth, also known as Mordred Viking, because I think he worked on half of those. So let's not talk about that. Also Belgium. Belgium's another personal favourite, and the Philippines. Anyway. Me, not you, as a game to play, sorry. What do you mean? I think Mordred worked on most of those. Yeah. You really like Island Nation, sir? Well, here's the funny thing. I live on an island. I live on the Isle of Man, which is right here. So I live on an island. I literally am on an island. Yeah, I don't know. I think it probably helps. Like, half of them have decent, like, navy trees. So that probably helps. I think we are going to just take it all. I think, yeah, let's just take it all. And then we're gonna get set for, let's integrate Czech manufacturers, I think. No, let's not. No, Do we want to form the Rome-Berlin Axis or assert Eastern claims? I think, yeah, let's form the form that. Quite like Argentina and Brazil. Argentina and Brazil are quite fun. I do quite enjoy Argentina playthroughs. Soviet Union, not the propaganda, the paranoia is really fun. Paranoia is really fun. Okay, so let's put those there, and need to assign someone. We'll just assign Rommel onto it. Them all on there. Okay, and the UK is imposing a naval blockade on us. Which is not ideal. It's quite rude, actually. Get some more chromium from Turkey. Your favourite path is the Japan Shogunate path. I have to admit, I was never massively keen on playing Japan. Wasn't really for me, honestly. But that's the... I think... One of the big things I'd highlight, again, it's really important to recognise... sorry for motorbikes in the background. There are going to be a myriad of ways to play this game that maybe, you know, it's not for me, maybe it might be for other people. You know? Japan is the way to learn how to do naval invasions properly. As well, I'd also say Japan really teaches players how to deal with low supply situation. As well. Like, that's a major component of it. You realize just how nice it is fighting in somewhere like Central Europe, where you have supply. Yeah. Do I like playing Turkey? From time to time, yeah. Turkey's got quite a nice little path. I say a little path. It's a big path. But yeah, I quite like it. Yeah, a big thing for me is just, you know, I tend to stick when I do play the game. I tend to stick with paths that I'm quite comfortable with, rather than experimenting all the time. Like, I spend more time watching other people play the game than I do actually playing it myself. I think nowadays. I know. Hey, Athena. Alright, so we're going to form the Rome-Berlin Axis, and then we are going to go for... Hello.
Hello.
We are going to go for Poland soon, TM. Now, there's one major thing that we're missing right now. Can you figure out what it is? Let's say if we were to go to war right now, what are we missing, Per?
With Poland?
No, just in general, on the screen, what do you think we should have? If we have an army on the Polish border, an army on the Maginot...
I mean, my first thought was the Benelux border, but...
Anywhere else? Because you're pretty close. Not the Air Force, that's a good one. Naval defense. Because what's going to happen here, and a lot of people, it happens all the time, that you focus so much on Poland, you might forget about something like France, or you forget to put units on area defense, or you forget to put units on essentially the ports for garrison. The UK just drops in naval invades from the north. So what we're going to do... I I hear you. God, you're so bossy. You're like my manager.
Sorry.
The
thing is, at this point, I already have that set up, so I guess I wasn't even looking, but...
Yeah.
So, I assume, generally, you do this sooner.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I mean, I would do it right about now, because I wouldn't have needed it until now. We're going to do research claims.
Because it's so easy to forget. As soon as I have the divisions, I'm putting them there.
So, all I'm going to do, I'm going to take 12 of these guys, and I'm just going to do area defense, naval base, and maybe victory points as well in this case.
We don't even need those.
Yeah. And that's literally it. If I wanted to, I could literally do just the naval bases, because it's 1939, so they're not going to have floating harbors, which means they need, in order to get supply, they need to have a port. If they don't have a port, then they can't invade and hold it. So all I need to do is just focus on that. Non-aggression pact, obviously, with the... Hi, Hina. I need to attack Poland. Can I focus now? I'm not even kidding. My cat is literally meowing for my attention, so I'm very sorry about that.
Did you pay the cat tax already?
Hey, yo. Hey, that's my arm. Never mind. We tried.
Okay, yeah, she's not having it today.
No. No, she's not happy. Let's have a think. I think just this one, ground attack. I'm gonna full screen my camera a second, pair.
Yeah, go for it.
Athena, do you want to invade Poland?
Yeah, that's the yeah.
He's just staring at me like, what are you doing? Yeah? Okay. It's clearly a yes. See, we're having a chat earlier on today, actually, weren't we, Pair? We were having a meeting, and one of the things that was brought up was City Skylines. They have been doing some live streams as well. And one of the community ambassadors has a dog called Odysseus. And it is just the cutest little thing ever. I feel like we need to have like a little mascot. Like a little cat tree we can put somewhere for like our cats. What if we adopted a bear? Here.
Okay.
Like Wojciech, you know?
Yeah.
We could adopt a bear from like a zoo, right? Can we do that?
That's the whole thing anyway.
Yeah. Okay, let's do...
Getting, but I don't generally like zoos that much.
That is fair. Well, okay, well, we got Memel. And
series on you.
And
I did see a question in chat about Tanutuva. I'm guessing
I
that's
didn't see it.
Our tongue-in-cheek meme shorts we did recently, and I think kind of everyone would figure out it's a funny, it's a joke.
Yeah.
We toyed with your feelings. We didn't mean to.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going with your planes? Everything set up?
Yeah, so we're basically just setting up. What I'm doing is more of a balanced approach for essentially just having... So you see here, we're attaching air wings to the generals, so that way they're not fighting over the regions. They're fighting for whatever... or they're not fighting for specific regions, they're fighting in whatever region the general is assigned to. So... that way, it's going to be a little bit more fluid and dynamic, rather than being attached to specific fronts, if you will. Which is better in this case. What I am thinking, I probably want to draw... some of them off of that front. Put them over there. So that way, again, we hold on to the Maginot. Unfortunately, when this kicks off... you know, actually, I've realized I forgot, again, something quite useful.
I'm still getting used to that myself. It's easy to forget these mechanics.
Yeah. And then when this kicks off, fortunately the Italians are probably going to keep the French busy.
What was that about trusting the AI?
Yeah, it's fine. No, I trust that bit of the AI. If you attach them to an army, do they automatically relocate? Yes. And that's the beauty of attaching air wings, is that they will automatically... I was kind of hoping it would show it there. It would automatically move closest to them, and then if it overcrowds an airbase, it would then move to a different airbase. So it would specifically avoid it. So, that is quite good. So go on.
I would venture to say that's one of the best things Hawaii ever got, just adding planes to your armies. Wow.
Yeah, it's such a nice... Yeah. I know a lot of people who don't like that, and they prefer to be able to micro their air. So you have that option. If you want to do that, you can. But if you want to just attach them and go, that's also a good option. So for me, I'm doing that because otherwise I would forget that they exist. Amazing feature for majors. Yeah, and again, it's just looking at small ways that things could be streamlined from time to time. So, oh, didn't mean to do that. I lost my chat. There it is.
Are you going to put some divisions on the Benelux border, or is that still okay for now?
I don't need to, for a very specific reason. Give me 1 second. Let me grab your camera. Yeah. Yeah, I don't need to for one very specific reason. They are neutral. And they will remain as neutral at least for a couple of months. So, in theory... I
don't trust the game to not screw me over there.
In theory... they are not going to be getting involved because they have aloof neutrality, so they are basically they're not going to join for a while. Belgium might... No, they won't. In all likelihood, they probably won't for a while. I should have time for Poland to... I should have time to knock Poland out first.
Never trust the Belgians.
What could go... Do you want to know a little bit of history that I actually learnt about Belgium? And regarding the Maginot Line, one of the main one of the main concepts behind the Maginot Line was effectively France didn't the French population just broadly didn't want to go through another Verdun. In the terms of they didn't want to have another catastrophic battle or another battle with catastrophic casualties to French. The French people on French soil. So it was very much a case of they said, if there's going to be another battle like this, it's not happening on our side of the border. Now, that being said, there was always this expectation of, if the Germans see us having these fortifications, they're going to try and go around. The logical
place... The Belgians will stop them?
Well, no, here's the thing. The original plan... was that the French and the British would on the outbreak of war, they would rush to pre-prepared positions set up by the Belgian army. But in, I think it was about 38 or 39, Belgium's king revoked that treaty and revoked that plan. And basically said, we're staying out of any future conflict. Which denied the French the ability to pre-position in Belgium prior to the outbreak of war. Which meant that when Germany declared on Belgium, the French army and the British expeditionary forces then had to rush from the border into Belgium. To try and make it to the... Was it the Seine? What's this river called? Is it the Seine?
Yeah.
Or the Seine? The original plan would have been that the British and French forces would have already been there on the outbreak of the war. But the Belgians... the Meuse. Thank you, Clonkle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mass.
Yeah.
Dutch, at least.
Yeah. So, again, doesn't really, not really relevant. I just think it's an interesting anecdote of, again, you see a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes being issued, especially on Hearts of Iron, and within the community you see a lot of memes about, let's say, like, French surrenders, or, that, oh, everyone was surprised when the Germans went through the Maginot, or they bypassed the Maginot. The reality of it is, and well, what we can see historically was, no, it wasn't as simple as that. And I think it's really important to remember that when we play a video game like Hearts of Iron 4, it tends to be a simplified version of history. Which can be absolutely fascinating if you're interested in that.
It's like so many things, though. Hindsight is 20/20, but it could have been fairly easily avoided.
Yeah. So we got Danziger War. Now we're gonna do is get that in 28 days for around the Maginot. So we're gonna leave that for the time being, but we'll get that one basically next. We're gonna go for probably expanding the Luftwaffe. And then, most of these guys can go out. Okay, you.
Angetreten.
Okay. Okay. I got a war goal. I forgot one very important thing. So, as a result of me forgetting to put that line, we're going to have less... we're not going to have any planning, but it's fine. We'll wing it. And we'll do that. Pick that off.
Los, los, los! Befehle.
Just a message for the chat. YouTube, please keep it English and don't do spam. I don't want to keep removing messages. Thank you.
Weiter, weiter! Zurück! Weiter, weiter!
That was silly by me.
Greif weiter an!
So, great example, the AI actually is quite good when you allow it to be.
Weiter, weiter!
That's me basically being silly.
Ziehen uns zurück!
Yeah, so this reminds me of one of the top Reddit suggestions when I asked newbie tips. Someone saying you shouldn't always micro.
Yeah, one of the big issues is sometimes you just need to let the AI do its thing.
Weiter, weiter!
Because the AI knows what it's... The AI can generally know what it's doing. It just sometimes doesn't necessarily know what to do with that. So, the worst thing I could do right now would be to overcorrect what the AI is doing, because if let's say I'm taking unit from here, there might be a reason why the AI is holding it there, kind of thing. So, yeah. So, what I'm also going to do, actually, I'm going to add supply there. Put you on that guy. Then do more grain crews, so that way you also then gain efficiency boost for, I think it's 20 command power. Which can be quite nice.
Bereit zum Abdrücken! Greift weiter an! Zeigt es ihnen!
Oh, wait! I don't even know why I had that there.
Zeigt es ihnen!
It's easy to miss.
Thank you, YouTube chat. Ah. Yeah. That would explain a thing or two. That's kind of funny. So what would have happened there? Go on.
You ever get really close to taking a country? You're basically there, and then you realize you missed one victory point somewhere, and you spend 2 more months trying to take just that point.
Okay, well, that's a very specific, Pear. Is there something you want to talk about with that?
No. It's just
observation.
It's been a while. But it's happened before because those little squares are easy to miss, and then suddenly the star jumps, and whoops.
So one thing I will show you guys, what I tend to do. You see a lot of people who first thing they would do if they are swapping out infantry equipment, they would just click this and immediately swap it over. The downside for doing that is you are potentially leaving a space between when you have high production efficiency and you're making a ton of infantry equipment 1, but it's going to take time for the infantry equipment 2 to make the same amount using those same production lines. So what you want to do is you want to ramp it up over time. Because if I drop this out, so if I put the same amount of factories that I have on infantry equipment 1 with 72% production efficiency, if I put the same amount on this infantry equipment 2 with lower efficiency, I gotta make less. And I'm at war, so I want to make the most that I can, so I'm going to stage it. So instead of doing all of them at once, I'll put 5 on there, wait for it to go up, then I'll put 5 more on, and then more. Does that make sense?
Or if you're lazy like me, you wait until your mini war is over, and then you upgrade it.
Not wrong. Could do that.
I think yours is more efficient.
Yeah.
Auf geht's! Zuhören!
Okay, so we just captured a general there, which is quite good. We captured Roman Abraham. Abraham?
I mean, I'm not even starting on pronouncing Polish names. That's...
Yeah, no.
Weiter, weiter!
I'll leave that to Zverbom.
Yeah. That would be a smart choice. Yeah, just broadly, we can just let the AI do its thing. Check every now and then to make sure they haven't broken down the Maginot. Hey, Ken. Or you could play Switzerland, then you don't have to worry about production, just sit the war out and enjoy. I really enjoy playing in Switzerland and just making bunkers in my mountains. And making mountains out of bunkers.
Like an AFK game, really, right?
Yeah, I literally just chill. It's basically what I do is Iceland. What I just like, ooh, another encirclement. That's quite a nasty encirclement. That's another one, another general.
I mean, those are just endorphin bombs.
Yeah. It's kind of like a gacha game. Have you ever played a gacha game?
I've tried the occasional one, like Genshin, but I just don't like the concept.
I play way too much Zenless Zone Zero. A friend of mine got me into it, and I love the story. It's so, like, happy-go-lucky, I think is the best way to word it. And then you've got, like, the super serious games that, like, you feel really sad after you play.
Whereas Hoi cheers you up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna spend that one. Well done invading Poland! Woo! Hey, Gorian. We're only 3.5 hours into this, but I think we've also managed to cover quite a lot of questions that people have. And I think it just goes to show how there are so many different people who play this game, or people who play this game differently, that there's there's not really a right or a wrong way to play it. Even if you aren't massively interested in metas, you know. So I quite enjoy that. So that's Poland. So I'm going to pause for now. Like I was saying, we're slowly kind of staging our equipment up. So we're going to get another 5 onto that. How well does the game take in winter, rain, mud, terrain? So if we check in a second, you'll be able to... What's English? You'll be able to see the actual... on the terrain, you'll be able to actually see whether or not it's raining. I think it would be here. Actually, yeah, we'll see it in a second.
You could make a save game, and since we're getting to the end, you could just go for Russia instead.
I could, or we could go for France, and I think we're probably just better off. We'll finish it on France. All right, we'll finish it on a high note.
All right.
Yeah. What time is it? Half. Yeah, we'll finish it and then we'll do that.
I mean, short answer, yes.
Short answer, yes.
Affect you. I honestly think it would be rather two-dimensional if it didn't play any part at all.
Yeah.
Because you definitely have to plan around it, mid and long term, even.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And again, it's one of those where when you consider how important those kind of additional effects had on places. I mean, you hear about the classic, Russia during winter or Finland during winter. I don't think you could really have a proper
the brothers where they're stuck in the snow.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. Seem to be devastating for troops. Yeah. Yeah. So take that, and then
here's also a good tip for beginners: don't forget to justify on time.
Yeah.
You're ready, your armor's there, you want to declare war. Oh, uh-oh.
Yeah, so you're just like awkwardly sitting on the border, just being like, can we come over?
No, we're just sightseeing. We're not
we're just sightseeing. Have you ever heard Did you ever hear about the anecdote about, I swear it was Liechtenstein. They went to war, 80 soldiers walked off to war. And after the war was over, they came back 81. Because whilst they were off on their travels during wartime, they met essentially a military attaché from another country, and that officer decided to return to Liechtenstein with them. So they walked out with 80, and they picked up some Austrian guy. So they came home 81. Right. We get our guys back on that border, and the reason we want to do that is because then we can do this. And again, surprise.
That does answer the question from before, one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time, and the reason for that being, if I was to do them both at once, then it gives them the opportunity to prepare. Or at least prepare it a little bit better. So.
And also half the time Luxembourg gets me because I forget to put one unit there and it just breaks through. It's very frustrating.
So what we're gonna do that there. Oh, and also actually before I forget, we're also then gonna extend our naval defense across, so we're covering all of the ports that we take as well. These guys are going off, they're having a grand old time. I feel like that maybe this is, have you ever worked in France?
Me, yes.
Yeah? That's fair. I've never really been to France that often.
I didn't look at it. I was close to Paris. I lived in Versailles.
Oh yeah.
Worked in this industrial place, Vélizy-Villers-Coblet.
Ah, okay.
That was before Blizzard moved the office to Versailles. And I left before they moved to Versailles, so that was an interesting bus trip every day. But great food, nice people.
Yeah. Alright.
Also, on letting the AI do its thing, here I do try to micro to keep them out of that northeast corner so they don't start trying to take those forts.
Oh yeah, I
sometimes
got
you do that, especially after you take Luxembourg. So
Yeah.
I keep them out of that corner because you don't need it.
Let's put them on that, and then... Yeah, okay, we'll call them into that now. Generally what you see, a lot of people wouldn't call the AI into these kinds of battles, mostly because they wouldn't want the AI to then have basically points for the peace conference. Because let's say I take all of this, but Italy's managed to push through to like Toulouse, they might have enough to then take some of the other countries.
You still have some units on Belgium for some reason somewhere?
Do I?
I'm not sure.
Wait, is that the last comment in chat? Because I already fixed that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's hard to see in these tiny countries.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Achtung!
Okay, and then put you guys on that. And effectively what we're doing right now is we're just kind of pushing through the north. I see a lot of people asking, like, you know, as an example, why would you, for someone like Rommel, why would you still go for, like, infantry division, like, bonuses? And something that's really important to recognize, even as, you know, motorizers, mechanizers, armored as, you know, I might make a ton of, like, tank divisions and stuff. If I actually look at my army composition, I've still got 93 infantry divisions and 10 light tank divisions. So, it's still really important to recognize, like, you might be focusing on tanks, but you probably still have more infantry. You should have more infantry. That's just the way it works. So, yeah, we're overall doing quite well. I don't think I need to force attack anything. But yeah, the main thing... Why
is your execution not higher?
My what, sorry?
On your general there, the execution is like the...
This one?
Yeah.
So, that is compared to, I believe, sorry, that one there, that's the forces comparison. So it says, the comparison of our units versus enemy units along the border, and any units ahead of the direction. So what that means is, if you look at this, if you hover over the icon, actually, as well, also good lesson, if you hover over that, that'll show you the overall axis of advance that they're pushing. That's a modern term, but basically what direction they're going. So red indicates each stage of that. So what's going to happen is all of these units are going to try and advance through there. So in the scope of this, all of those units versus mine roughly equal. So roughly in standing, their units are comparable to mine. Not determining, or not based on what kind of maneuver you're doing. So if I'm flanking around it to the north. So if this was just a straight up fight, this would be relatively equal. It's not going to be equal though, because I'm just going to knock them the fuck out like that.
Okay.
So we're going to establish Vichy France. France is down and out. And then I think we'll just probably start wrapping up here, because I know I think we've got about 20 minutes left.
Yeah, I think this is a good point.
Yeah.
We've had fun.
Yeah, I think I've enjoyed it. Or not even I think I have. Yeah, so if you want to have a wee chat, if there's anything you want to go over first.
I still think we should have done Russia, but yes, that would take longer.
Yeah.
So I'll check your stream this weekend.
Assuming I play this weekend, I've got airsoft.
Okay. Maybe you can explain your choice.
Okay,
and France or leaving Vichy.
So if I took Vichy France now owns half of North Africa.
Mm-hmm.
If I took all of France, I would be spending more time fighting over Africa. So as it stands right now, leaving Vichy France, in theory, means that the Axis is going to have an easier time taking the remainder of North Africa, taking Africa. What you tend to see in Hoi is people focus first on Europe and the fall of France, then it kind of moves on to the Mediterranean and North Africa. Because, again, going on a historical context, you can't really invade Italy until you have North Africa. And you can't really deal with Germany properly and France until you deal with Italy. So what you tend to see is a lot of players focusing on gaining control of the Mediterranean and then working up, or if you're the Axis, working down. So yeah, just overall, a lot of it comes down to a balance of I've played the game enough to know how do I want this to go, and what do I need to do in order to achieve that. So not just what do I need Germany to do, but also what do I need France to do, what do I need Italy to do. So these are all things that you kind of pick up the more games that you play, because you can kind of balance. So you would do Africa next, then invade the UK? Yes. Yeah. And the reason for that, I can't take the UK right now, because the UK has about 260 to 300 ships. I probably have about 40. I've got 62. So I don't have the navy for that. Technically, Italy does. Italy's got about 160 ships, but I don't have Italy, because Italy's an AI player. So in order to free up Italy, we need to take the Mediterranean. In order to take the Mediterranean, we need to take Africa. So, I would think of it in that kind of like, as like a checklist. You know?
That was a good explanation. I just want to take it to a last question. And,
yep.
How strategic can you be as a player trying to bomb the railroad network?
So I actually have an example game that we might be able to use. Wait, I'm going to save this. I like that game. I have an example game that we can use, which was from 2 weeks ago when we played versus Italy. You remember that game?
Vaguely.
I'm trying to remember, who did I play? Was I playing as Australia? No, I was playing as the UK, wasn't I? It was a UK game. Wait, hang on.
Remember, I put all my units defending the UK and then taking Ireland back from the AI.
I think it was this game. We'll see. Yes, it was this game. I am still so sad about this game. The reason I'm going to bring this one up is I was very much focused on basically it was it this game?
Something weird going on in Africa as well, the back and forth the whole time.
Okay, no, I don't think it was that game, because I still had a navy. Basically,
that was the one before, wasn't it?
Now actually, was it this one? No, I don't think it was. We did a game where I was basically strategic bombing Italy as the UK, and I basically systematically destroyed all of their all of their railroads, all of their infrastructure, their civilian factories, so they couldn't rebuild them. It can work, and you do see people quite often doing that. You just need to be a country that can... Ooh, don't want to click that. You just need to be a country that can sustain it, because...
Yeah, I was gonna say, you need enough planes, otherwise it's just... Yeah.
Yeah.
Drops.
Yeah, I think normally what tends to... I think it might have been that game. What tends to happen is you need to be able to afford the losses. I'm probably not going to be able to find that game. Yeah, basically, you just need to be able to afford the losses. If I was to look at, let's say, strategic bombing, you could be knocking out, so their infrastructure, civilian factories, military factories, civilian factories, air bases, supply hubs, railroads, naval bases, land forts, coastal forts, stronghold network, dockyards, anti-air, synthetic refinery, fuel, radar.
Yes,
A lot of stuff. You can knock out pretty much everything on the top of the list here. I'm not going to bother going over them anymore. You can bomb shit. And it can be worthwhile. You know, I think you see the US doing it quite a lot, actually. But anyway, that should be that question.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me have a wee drink. Next time, Russia.
Check out that paranoia.
Yeah, so what I would say, current plan for now, we are going to be doing a multiplayer game next week. I mean, I've already said it now, so I guess I shouldn't really ask if I'm allowed to say that. But, yeah, we should be doing a multiplayer game next week on Saturday. So that'd be quite nice. You got a number of Paradox developers in for that. I'm going to be streaming on this channel, or these channels again. We're going to be playing Germany. I think it's a historical Germany or a historical Axis. About as historical as, realistically, a bunch of PDX developers who are quite chaotic can be. So that'll be quite fun. I want to say big thank you to Per for joining me through all of this. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, we've been able to answer a number of your questions. Do we want to talk about the forum post, Per?
The forum post?
Yeah, we mentioned we might put up a forum post after this stream.
Yeah, I think we'll take the weekend, post something on Monday.
Okay,
do
fair
a
enough.
Follow-up summary and see if there's any Q&A we can add, any questions people have. And then we can also maybe get suggestions for a possible next one like this.
Yeah, well, in that case, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any further questions, reach out to us on the Paradox forum, on Reddit. Again, we've got the official Hoi4 Discord. There is a ton of resources available on our forum. I'm going to link that in both of our chats now. Just as a reminder, we do have both of those available, so check them out. But other than that, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend. And yeah, hopefully we will see you guys soon. All right. Take care.